welcome everybody to episode number 33 of the Dragon's Den podcast. My name is Eric Hopkins, aka Gel. I turned 43 years old tomorrow, so wish me happy birthday in the comments below by all means. I could use all the well wishes I can get for sure. Joining you this holiday season by Sir Spooington III, Miranda Nicole 84, and Matthew 24 here tonight. Probably get aired on here, I hope, at some point tonight as well. Looking forward to a good show. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about from wrestling, quite a bit of movie stuff tonight, actually, when it comes to the world of comic book movies for sure. And we've got some sports and, of course, politics to round out the show. How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a long week. I haven't talked to you guys much, so how's it going?
Not bad. Not bad.
Long week, sure.
Yeah.
Matt's dying.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. So how's work?
We miss you, Eric.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm on the
Brandon has a story about work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right.
Do share.
This was hilarious today. So I got to work today and I wore my tennis shoes. Normally I've been wearing my boots because they've been a lot more comfortable. But I wore my tennis shoes today. Now these shoes they've served their purpose. And I went to tie them and like one of the laces just ripped right off. And I'm like, all right. And then I also noticed I have a huge hole in the side of my sock. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So like I walk out and two people are standing there and I walk up to them. And at this point, a third.
They were your bosses, weren't they?
Yes.
Like partly?
And then, partly. And then Rob shows up, right? Like, right as this is going on. And I go, I'm going home. Everybody stops and they look at me. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I go to tie my shoelace rips. I also noticed I have a huge hole in my sock. I've had enough. I'm leaving. This is at like it's before 11 o'clock. It's like 10 o'clock at this. So like technically, I'm not even at work really. I'm here. And I'm like, I'm leaving. And he goes, well, the calendar's full. And I said, I got points, whatever. I'm out of here. And I turned around to leave. Rob goes, no. Bends down, starts pulling out the laces of his boots because he was going to give me the laces. And I go, let's calm down.
It's the season of spreading cheer and, giving to others,
I go, first of all, it's not that serious. I'm joking. I'm going to go get a zip tie and I'm going to zip tie my shoe.
Jerry rigging, huh?
So I turn around to leave and I turn back and like Rob is like, now he's relacing his boot because he was going to legitimately give me the laces out of his shoes just so I wouldn't leave.
Man.
So, here, I'll show you the shoe. Hold on, champ. You think bullshit? Oh, wait.
They were that hard up for help, huh?
Look at that. Right there.
Oh, man.
The zip tie for sure, son.
Hey, as long as it does the trick. I mean, Velcro works. Why not zip ties?
Yeah. Dude, so, like, if you were to go down to Jackpot and I was sitting there, no shoe, hole in sock, taking a zip tie, weaving it through the laces on my shoe, making eye contact with everybody.
Brandon, I told Miranda this earlier. Today felt like the most me and you have ever gotten along at work.
I almost killed Matt last break.
So apparently Matt's a liar.
Yeah.
Sitting there. It was a legitimate question. Now, 9 times out of 10, Matt's talking to me. He always got some smart ass to say, so therefore it is what it is, right? Yeah. But he had a legitimate question. I just did not hear his question. Okay. So my reaction, the only reason he got the reaction he got from me is because of the reaction he gave me. You get what I'm saying? I legitimately did not hear him. Okay. He was showing me the thing that you posted, and I'm sure we'll talk about it here later, but Chris Evans coming back.
We're looking at that. Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, maybe it may be the Hydra version of Cap, right? That's what I said. And in response to what he was saying, he goes, was there ever a Hydra or something like that? And I did not hear him. And he looks at me and I go, what? He goes, don't talk to me like that. You know I don't know anything. I went, Matt, fuck you. Like, I caught myself and I'm like, that was totally unwarranted.
Brandon.
And I'm like, no. I get what you're. I didn't hear what he said, so
Hey, Brandon.
legitimately, my reaction to what he said was like, "Yo, bitch, don't talk to me like that."
I want to educate him here a little bit, so it's okay.
Oh, look at the cat, brother.
Look at the new addition
Most
to
adorable thing
the
in
family
world.
down there.
Let me tell you, Matt has been walking around showing these pictures off, and I get it. I did the same thing with Loki. I did the same thing with Oscar too. But Matt has been walking around talking about this cat like it is his fucking baby. You know what I mean? Like legit. And it's
my baby.
hilarious to me.
He's my baby.
So tell us about him.
This is Jasper. He's a 6-month-old gray tabby cat.
Should have got an orange one.
Well, the gray one, he there's a story behind of why I have him.
Okay, get there.
Me and Sierra were at the animal shelter, and he was pacing on the top shelf.
Top kennel.
As the top kennel, really. The top shelf.
Top
kennel.
shelf.
Tomato.
The top shelf.
He said, this,
Yeah,
"We don't buy that bottom shelf kitties. No, we go top
He
shelf."
was pacing on the top of the. He was pacing on the top of the kennel, and we and Sierra both turned around to look at another cat. And in the process of us doing that, he took his paws from the kennel and grabbed Sierra's hair in my hoodie. And he was like, "I am coming home with you guys.
Get me the hell out of here now!"
So we have been attached. I've been attached ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since I opened that cage, me
This
and him
man
just loved each other.
Now, why this is so funny is because we all know Matt. Matt has been to my house quite a few times. He's met all the pets that we have, all of them, and Oscar being the newest one. Now, Matt had a run-in with a cat that didn't have a problem with anybody else
but me,
and that was who was sitting for his sister. Their cat. What was that cat's name?
Spock.
Spock.
Yeah.
I love that cat. That cat was cool as hell.
Yeah, the cat was cool. Just not
but
Matt,
for
because
whatever reason, it hated Matt. So Matt has this.
I tell you why.
Well, I know why.
He grabbed him by the head and went like
I
this.
didn't grab him like that.
Yes, I watched you do it.
I didn't grab him.
So it was eternal beef from that point on. So when he met
Matt,
Oscar,
you learned your lesson, right?
I hope Peter's not watching right now.
Yeah.
No, he is.
The cat's fine.
But to hear Matt talk about this cat now that he's had for a couple of days, even leading up to him getting this cat, has been the funniest thing to me, is because he was so dead set on not getting a cat or any other pet for that matter. But then I knew, just like when we got Loki, I was the same way. I did not want the dog. I truly did not.
Yeah.
But when he was brought to the house and I'm sitting there, the kids were all asleep. It was just me, Miranda, and Jason. And I'm holding this dog and he falls asleep in my arms. And I turn around and look at Jason and said, "You can go ahead and go." And you just go ahead and take the fuck off. Keep the dog. And
you don't want a baby cow either, but I still think that's in your future.
Hey, family.
Yeah.
If you or anybody else, and she knows exactly who I'm talking about at this point, bring up I told her, I said, "I swear to you, if there's a cow at my house, I'm dropping it off at your apartment."
Oh, there's going to be a cow at your house someday.
Let me tell you something. Me and him have had a connection ever since then, and I have just loved and adored him. And
man, just wait till he has his first real child. He's going to be a blubbering
Matt's
man.
going to be like,
poor guy.
Matt's going to be like, "Oh,
as he should though.
It's the best thing in the world."
But me and him I've just held him, and he's with me, and
that's how they get you.
And you know what?
He's luring you in right now.
Let me tell you something. Tonight he has showed me what he has been all about, and I tell you, I've loved every minute of it. I knew the challenge that was going to be presented for me, and he is like, "I'm going to meet that expectation and more."
I'm telling you.
Do you have like any desks or anything around you right now?
Eric, the Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, every morning I have to pick up my ornaments because Oscar.
Right now,
you're lucky. It's just the ornaments.
Well, no, he broke a branch. Like he laid in it the other day. He's fat, and
Don't let Oscar hear you talk about him like that. There's gonna be problems.
Yeah. But the only reason I ask you, Matt, though, is because I can't wait for the moment we're doing a podcast. All of a sudden, just randomly jumps on your shoulder out of nowhere. It's going to be the funniest thing ever.
He's still recovering from his little surgery, but right now he's been doing good.
Loki does that shit. Well, it does not anymore. He used to do it to Jackson. When we first, not Loki, Jesus. Oscar, he used to do that to Jackson. And I've told you this story, but like Jackson used to have pops all along the top of his desk. Oscar decided he did not like the pops up there. So he knocks them all down. Okay. But you would think he knocks them down because he wants to sit up there. No, he just doesn't want anything up there. He never goes up there. The only time he goes up there is if Jackson puts something up there just to knock it down.
Mm-hmm.
But he sits on his, like it's not even a perch. He sits on top of the bunk bed and just, if you walk in that room while he's got his head hanging over, he would just watch you with this look of like, ugh, why are you here?
Yeah.
And we learned some things about
peasant.
Yeah.
You know?
We learned some things about cats and how they sleep with people determines how the cat sees you. He views himself as the protector of Anaya and Jackson because of how he sleeps with them. He has no problems cuddling up to them or anything like that, but he sleeps with them on the watchful eye tip of like, these are his pets. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, these are his. Yeah, like the kids are his, and we're just allowed to dictate certain things around. But like that's his. He runs that whole situation.
Jasper is family. So
like I said, he's luring you in right now. And eventually, you're going to be working for him.
Yeah.
I work for him already. He is something else.
Like he wants his food and all at the same time every morning. He's going to make sure you know about it. He's going to do the zoomies in the middle. So you got to.
Oh my lord!
You can be dead tired. You have gags on your eyes.
Right now at night, he only has access to our bedroom because that is not how that's going to work.
It won't matter. He'll bounce off the walls.
That's fine.
Headboard, bed, floor, headboard, bed, floor. Whatever it takes.
That's fine. And he can do that.
I'll say this last thing about cats that I've learned. I'm now owning a cat. It is quite hilarious at times because, again, Oscar has been around since he was a little kitten, 2 dogs. One of them, they hit it off immediately, and they are inseparable at times. But he acts like a dog. He'll beg for treats. He knows when the dogs come in the house, he knows they're getting a treat. If he's out and about, when they come in, he's like, well, then obviously I need a treat. He will wait for his food. He does the same thing Loki does, and it is the funniest thing ever. But for all intents and purposes, he's still a cat. He still has his cat moments and his surprise. The surprise attacks from this cat.
Those are hilarious.
Oh yeah,
he is like obsessed with what I'm doing right now.
What are you doing?
Sitting there.
Oh, don't worry. He'll be up in your lap before the show's over.
He is like obsessed.
Before we move on here, Mike's in the chat. Good to see you, Mike. Earlier, Brandon was talking about they have to leave work or whatever. Brandon has an extra entry fee to pay for in fantasy football next year, so he's got to stay at work. So
I'm talking to you, Michael. Shut your face.
Official. Brandon is dead last in the fantasy football league this year.
Can we talk
Matt
about something else?
Second runner-up, and I didn't even make the playoffs either. So
can we talk about something?
I'm hoping.
Miranda.
With a little luck, Brandon has to pay my entry fee this year.
Ooh, that's very possible.
That's coming out of the same pocket. It's like if your
money is my money, so that's fine.
Crazy business.
In a way, it kind of works that way. Yeah. In that case, you don't have to pay the. You don't have to pay the 60, then, not the 90. Yeah, so there you go.
That's crazy work, son.
I mean, she's playing for you now, so
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? And Aaron will be in here a little bit. Aaron, he made the playoffs as a rookie, so good for him. Not sure how Nate's going to feel about that.
Why is it every year it works out like this for me? Like, what do I do wrong? I feel like I draft well. You know what I mean? I feel like my team operates at a certain fucking level, but then eventually it all just falls off a cliff. And
how do I feel, Brandon?
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, because Chris Grove did this a little bit too. I don't know if you played the waiver wire as much.
No, I didn't.
You definitely don't use your fab budget. That's for sure. you never use it, which you don't have to always use that, but
He's like,
there are
I feel like I
times that
don't
you can
need
go
to
pick up
at
some
times,
guys
though.
early on to
Yeah.
get for a rainy day, and sometimes that rainy day comes and you got nobody.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest because mine was all luck
But that's
because I
not
only
easy.
picked up people when I absolutely had to,
Mhm.
and
That's the only time
everybody
I
else
use it. That is the only time I use that shit is like when
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah,
have to.
and you could do it that way, but you got to draft really well. And if you miss a few here and there, like Miranda, like normally, like when you pick like 4 or 5 players from one team, in Miranda's case, the Steelers, it doesn't work out too well. But Miranda's Steelers are 10-3, and we're going to talk about here in a little while. So it worked out pretty good for her. So
yeah, I wasn't trying this year to pick that many, but it just happened that way. Like,
and it ended up being good, so it worked.
Yeah.
Mike said, quick update on his leg. Looking into some minor issues with my knee, and X-rays shows what looks to be a bone spur in my hip. Well, that could
Jesus,
probably
brother.
cause some stuff.
That bone spur shit is trash.
Yeah, I mean, mine's mostly. I don't know if it's gout this time. I've had gout issues, but it very well could be. But I think
I'm going to say this real quick.
Yeah.
You need to look into getting on some beef organ supplements.
I've got some
Brandon?
supplements and some preventative meds, but it just didn't go away fully the last time, I think. But
So
it's just moved locations.
You know about the whole carpal tunnel thing, the shit I was in dealing with both my damn wrists and my hands, like where I could barely open one of my hands. So Miranda started giving me these damn beef supplement pills or organ pills or whatever. It's iron and a bunch of other shit inside these things. Legitimately, since I started taking those, and maybe it do be in combination with the fact that I'm not doing the job that I was currently doing, but even doing mundane shit, it was hard to, especially this, like my left hand.
Like you're not waking up with it now, and that's the
I'm not
telltale
waking
sign.
up
Like,
with the problem at all. Like hell, even my knees, and you know how bad they are. I don't have the pain that I would normally have, that I've been dealing with for the last few fucking years. So since I started taking these damn things, like they have helped me out tremendously. Even your bunkmate was talking to me about that same issue, and
what his I've talked about.
Yeah, and what his doctor was saying, and it was like, yeah, that's what I'm taking. You know, I'm telling him this, and he's like, well, yeah, he was told to look into the same thing. So I can try to give you a couple, see if they work.
I know for the time being, since I've been dealing with some swelling knees over the last couple of months, I'm going to be wearing both knee braces for the foreseeable future until just as a precaution, in case it's not that. Like if I'm just weak in the knees and I'm spraining something, always have that extra stability. I've only been wearing one brace on the knee that's been hurting more or having with, but I definitely need to start eating better, diet, the whole spiel, just to get better, and hopefully that'll make things better. But until then, that's the plan. So I can only do what I can do.
Yeah, I feel for you though, brother, because like I know what it's like when shit starts shutting down. Like
and we have a job to where we work literally on concrete 8 hours plus a day, more with overtime. So if one of your wheels goes out, there's literally nothing you could do. I mean, there's a few positions in there where you can sit on a computer, but those
you ain't getting those positions.
Not for me. So it's one of those deals. It's like either I sit at home or I go to work hurt. It's kind of there's FMLA and stuff, which I probably will need to look into that more if something were to persist. But I've just always been hesitant on some of that stuff. But that's not here nor there. But anyway, Mike says I'll keep limping along like my fantasy team did into the playoffs. Well, yeah,
I know that team really sucks.
Well, he had Cooper Kupp on last night's Thursday night football game, and he scored 0 points. So good start for your playoffs.
Nobody scored a touchdown in that game.
I know, it was terrible.
Then the dude quit halfway through. Man, whatever. Like,
yeah, I heard about that too.
That was the worst football game I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was.
Well, every year's got that stinker, and I guess last night was it. So, crazily enough, too, it was the Niners and the Rams. You think it would have been a little more high scoring?
It would have been a little more high scoring game.
Exactly. All right, well, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get into some of the topics. Let's start off. We'll touch a little bit on pro wrestling at first, just because a few things changed.
Something major is about to happen, so I'm pretty stoked about it, honestly.
All right, well, we'll see if I bring it up. If not, you'll have to bring it up for me. So here we go. So we talked a little bit about before we get into that, I had something that I woke up this morning and I was a little bit shocked. For whatever reason, John Cena follows me on X now.
Well, hello, John Cena, if you're watching.
All right, John Cena, you got
awesome,
it, boss.
brother. I
That's
mean,
crazy
thanks,
work.
I mean, hustle, loyalty, respect, and
cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know what one of my posts was or what caught his attention, but yeah, I mean that was
awesome.
I mean,
That's cool.
I felt,
Eric, you follow wrestling well enough, and you've been a fan
Yeah.
for so many years. He probably recognized the account.
I doubt it.
well, it's interesting. If you look under his page here, it shows that he follows Donald Trump posts from his Truth Social.
Oh,
He
wow.
makes up Star Wars series, a lot of stuff that I follow. So it's probably, I mean, I don't know, but
A common interest thing, yeah, maybe.
in a lot of particular, I don't know if he believes politically like I do or not. I don't know. I know he's a big military guy, which obviously I support the troops and all that stuff too. But either way, man, that's awesome. John, if you're watching, love to have you aboard. Thank you for following me because obviously everybody follows you. But yeah, I mean, that's cool, man. It's just something I woke up to. I was like, wow, okay, did not expect that this morning. So very cool to see. But yeah, as we mentioned, there's not a pay-per-view this weekend, but WWE has a show that they're doing on Saturday night, tomorrow night, called Saturday Night's Main Event. And we went over it a little bit last week on the show, but a few things have changed with that show leading up to it coming up this week. And I thought we'd go over a couple of the changes at least. And one of them was something that Triple H himself posted, and that was a video of him and Cody Rhodes, and Triple H kind of saying, hey, one night only, here you go.
Got something for you. Understand this. One night only. All right? Okay.
So yeah, I mean, they're promoting their upcoming show, and of course, it's going to be kind of a bit of a throwback to the '80s, and when they used to do these shows, like I don't know if it was quarterly. I think they actually may have plans now to do them quarterly every few months or so now. So that's great to see. I like to see the old throwbacks every now and then. And but
So
yeah, go ahead.
Is this a one-off, or are they going to maintain the Saturday nights? Because
Well,
I used to love Saturday Night Main Event.
Well, there was a report I read earlier that said they're going to be doing them quarterly.
Oh, okay.
Going forward. So if that's the case, great. I got no problem with that.
I used to love that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
wrestling on Saturday night would be really fun to watch.
Well, go watch AEW Collision. They're on every Saturday night.
No.
I'm just saying.
That's true.
So I don't know if it has anything to do with that or not. Probably not. But at the same time, it's cool to see. Now, this obviously got everybody speculating what was in the briefcase. And a lot of people were thinking it is, of course, the old Winged Eagle classic WWE, WWF championship from back in the day. The title that Dusty Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' father, never got to hold. So it's got a lot of people talking that for one night only, Cody Rhodes is going to wear this to the ring and defend it against Kevin Owens. Obviously, that would be outstanding. I obviously wish they would just go back to this permanently.
I think they retired this one, though. I mean, like, this is more because I want to say this is one that's in the WWE museum or whatever. That big ass warehouse that they have.
They're supposed to be building an actual Hall of Fame building too. It would probably go in that eventually.
So it'll probably go in that because it still has the old WWF logo on it and everything.
Yeah, it's got. They could probably update that if whatever. I think the one I've got up here, let's see, the old Ultimate Warrior white strap belt. It's got the new WWE old. It looks like that WWF, but without the F part on there.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I know
use the old classic thing, but yeah. I mean, that can very well be what he does. I kind of wish it would be more permanent, or he could just be coming back out into the old Stardust gear, one night only. I highly doubt that.
Listen, if I hear that music, I'm turning it off.
I don't know if Triple H is that cruel, but at the same time,
shut it off.
I mean, that's just scary for Cody, I'm sure. But since he smiled, I'm sure it's the former here. But what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see that maybe make a comeback full time? I know I would.
The belt, sure, but I think they're going with the more updated. And I get what you're saying for nostalgia purposes. And yes, that belt was really fucking cool, but I think that's where the direction they're headed. I think this will be that, hey, one time only thing here. But I mean, it'd be cool to see it again, like honestly. But no, I think they're pretty much set on how they want their belt to look. And unfortunately, we're not going to get this back. But it would be cool to see it one more time.
I actually, and I don't disagree with you. I actually like the belt designs that WWE is currently using, with the exception of Cody's. It just feels like a remnant of the old era. The ones like they've updated the Intercontinental title a little bit with the color. The tag titles look great. They've done it like a new design under Triple H's leadership, and I think that one could maybe get an update kind of similar to this at least. They did it like a big Winged Eagle belt, with Austin when he got it at first.
Yeah.
To kind of an update from this one. I kind of like to maybe see him go back to something similar to that to kind of have that old lineage to it. But I don't see them going back to this permanently, unfortunately.
No.
Mike in the chat said, trivia, who was the last man to win the Winged Eagle belt? I know this one.
John Cena.
No,
I have no idea.
Or at least I think I know this. Mike will have to clarify.
Undertaker.
Huh?
Undertaker.
Actually, I believe. Wait, maybe I'm thinking. No, I think I'm thinking of the last man to win the title named the WWF title. That was Hulk Hogan. He won the first, I think, Winged Eagle belt, and then he won the last WWF title before they changed. That's probably, so I may be wrong on that. Then it's probably not Hogan. Then the last WWF, it's probably Stone Cold Steve Austin, because I remember the next night.
Yeah, he got the smoking skull belt.
Well, no, he got the updated version I was just talking about.
Oh, and then when did he get the smoking skull belt?
It was after that, a little bit, during that run. I think he kind of customized, which is weird because they just introduced the new belt. It might have been a few years later, but at the same time, he kind of hotshotted the title bit back then with The Rock and Taker and stuff a lot. So, So a final answer: Stone Cold Steve Austin. But so that's pretty cool. Yeah, there you go. Shawn Michaels, the boyhood dream has come. I'll never forget that.
So who was it, Mike?
Don't leave us hanging, brother. As I mentioned, we went over the card a little bit last week. This match has not changed. He said in the chat, Steve Austin won the belt at WrestleMania. I was right. I got there eventually. Austin customized the smoking skull during his reign. So there you go. This match obviously has not changed, with the exception of the belt design probably for this match one night only, which kind of gives away the finish, in my opinion. Cody ain't losing it because he's holding the belt his father never got to hold legitimately during his era.
But losing it would be very good, though.
Would be probably a way to push Kevin Owens as a heel for certain. But we also got a few matches added to the card, and I would love to see Kevin Owens as the champion. Well, never say never. I just feel like Cody ain't dropping it till Rumble or Mania at least. You know what I mean?
But Eric, that's what they want you to think.
No, that very well could be true. You're not wrong about that. They could pull a swerve on me. But they added well, it's not added. They announced it, I think, for the show. The finals of the United States Women's Championship tournament. Obviously, there's two matches going on SmackDown tonight. I don't know the results of that, but the two winners will face in the finals on Saturday night's main event tomorrow night for the first ever Women's United States Championship belt. We also got we'll see. There's a few other matches here before I skip forward. Where did I do with the card here? Maybe I messed up on there. All right. Well, anyway, we got the Legends returning as well. We already know about Jesse the Body Ventura. Now we know that $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Coco Beware, Tito Santana, and Jimmy Hart will be in attendance as well. So again, just kind of going back to that throwback on top of everything else. Oh, I know what I did here.
The Coco Beware one is crazy work.
Exactly. And of course, we got Liv Morgan versus Io Sky defending her Women's World Championship. We already knew about that match. This match was changed. Gunther versus Finn Balor was the original match on Raw. They added Damian Priest. It's now a triple threat match for the World Championship. So it was interesting too. They were doing the angle to actually set up the change for the triple threat, and Gunther started beating up Damian Priest, and nobody's really calling it out on X, but Wade Barrett made a big mistake on commentary, talking about how Gunther is weakening his opponent before his matchup on Saturday, before they actually announced the triple threat. So way to go, Wade. But I mean,
but he could easily put that to like the whole thing with Finn Balor too, like I guess, but I get what you're saying. That's
yeah. But he was literally beating up Damian when he said it.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, mistakes happen. I got no problem with it personally. But if AEW were to do that, that's my point. You would like legitimately, like people online would be like, oh, see, they're just a sloppy shop. They can't get anything right. Be fair, do it to both sides if you're going to do it. That's all I'm saying. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. So they added it as a triple threat match, which I think adds some intrigue to it. But I still think Gunther is retaining at the end of the day. Finn and Damian's probably going to cost each other the title. That's probably what's going to end up happening here.
Nope, and Finn's going to win that title.
You think so? Okay. Well, at this show? Well, I mean, if they want to do a title change, that might be the one to pull the trigger on.
Mhm.
They also added Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, so that's also going to be a fun match as well.
That's gonna be fucking violent.
I heard an interview from Drew McIntyre today, and I don't know when this interview was.
It was with Busted Open on their Christmas special.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
like I couldn't tell.
I know. It was
if
like,
it was a promo or if it was legit.
Yeah.
Or
no,
yeah.
And that's the thing.
Whatever it was good.
It was well done.
That's what makes this whole thing, this whole story with Punk and Roman and all these guys seem so real, because it holds this element of legitimacy, because there literally is a thing with a couple of these guys from years before, backstage real heat situations. So it makes it seem, the way CM Punk is really tied in to all of this is crazy business.
It also feels like he's like getting rid of some demons in a
constructive way.
Yes.
Everybody said he's been. You talking about Drew or
because all of it, like the whole situation, because if there was a lot of tension because they're going through real life personal shit, but they're on the road how many days out of the year? Like they were family, you know, he said that. And friends that become family, when they turn their back on you, that hurts worse than your family. Yeah. Because you let somebody in your life
that you didn't need to.
That you don't need to. That's what hit home for me.
Well, it was not only that too. He was talking about how, you know, on the road the company or people who, the wrestling business, they always say we're family. You know, we're on the road together. But then he talked like it was like one of those things. Well, he was gone. No one even really called to check up on him or anything. So not so much, that family lets you down, but by not calling to check it up on you, it does let you down. So are you really family like you say you are, or are you just coworkers? And so, and of course, he talked about, being away on the road for the company and stuff, and how he's never really around, to be there for the important moments with his family, funerals, weddings, things like that. So he was, again, like Miranda said, he cut this in such a way it was like, was it a straight shoot? Was it real life talking? Or was he half shoot, half in character?
But I think
push a storyline here. It was really well done.
I think that's the point. I will say this whole story with all what's going on, the way it blurs the line between fiction and nonfiction is outstanding, because part of it is real and part of it is fake. There are issues they probably had.
It's just like the bloodline.
Yeah.
It's just like the bloodline. It's that somebody always wanting to step on you to get ahead. Even family, it's
yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if I was going to have, and I love AEW. I've been an AEW fan since I started. But if I had to have one nitpick of AEW, it is they're lacking that deep emotional connection with some of their characters, and the real life blurring of the lines, as you said, in this situation, or CM Punk with the bloodline and all the stuff that came out of the bloodline match now interfusing itself with the Drew McIntyre's a wider range that we even talked about here on the channel. I didn't like the fact that CM Punk got added to the bloodline stuff. I was like, okay, I get the Paul Heyman connection, but I didn't see the plan with all these other things going on with Raw. And now I'm going, all right, that wasn't as bad of a move as I thought it was.
Because if you think about it, even when CM Punk cut that promo last week about Seth Rollins and how I shielded you, CM Punk was behind the whole Shield thing. At least if you listen to the way he tells the story.
Right.
So it was a dig at that. This whole story reaches back to the conception of the Shield. You get what I'm saying? Like how they tied it into everything is crazy. How Seth helped create this monster with Roman. They turned Roman into this, but then it's like everything Roman did. Not all the people that are affected by it. Drew, Seth, Sam, all of WWE for 4 years. You know what I mean? was just under this man's heel. And now the people who broke away from it, Jay, Jimmy for a while, Sammy, and you've all just willingly went back to this man after he treated. And like the thing is, everybody's right. Roman hasn't changed, but the two people who could see it is Drew and Seth. But everybody thinks they're fucking crazy. You get what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to.
Yeah.
But it's also making them crazy because like we can't be the only two sane fucking people here. And also what's his name? Kevin Owens. Because that's part of the reason why he's pissed at
Cody. Yeah, for teaming with Roman.
And it's like
so and this is two different shows kind of interweaving,
That's a lot of fucking shit to juggle, boss.
Now, I'll say this though. That kind of leads me to think that maybe some of those rumors. Now, granted, The Rock said they were BS. Okay, maybe the rumors are true, and Rock's not going to be at Rumble and Mania like they thought. If that's the case, I don't like them setting it up and not paying it off, especially with Cody and doing the Roman match with Rock one-on-one. But if there is legitimate, truth to the fact that Rock's not going to be able to be there. That it makes you really think that some of the CM Punk stuff was done. They even had that face-off with Roman, CM Punk and Roman, with Paul Heyman standing in the background. Is there legitimacy to the fact that maybe CM Punk's wrestling Roman, and Roman's not going to be involved with The Rock at all?
I don't know, man.
And Cody may get John Cena or something like that going for his record-breaking world title. I don't know. There's a lot of things in the air it's making you think for sure.
So I was like one of those people when I remember when this question was asked of Paul Heyman, like how much of this story is still, and he says we're only in the second inning, but it was like we're leading up to him losing that title at WrestleMania. What are you talking about? Now you can see like, oh, there was way more to this story. And
which a lot of people at the time thought, well, they're just spinning their tires. They're trying to drag it out as long as possible. Which I'm not saying they were 100% wrong in that. Maybe they were, but either way, they came up with enough creative to make it work.
Yeah, because it was kind of like when Jimmy came back and helped Roman, it was like, wait, why? Like, what was the point? You know what I mean? And you leaving in the first place to go back to it, and then. But now you're seeing why. And it's like, what the hell is happening here? So like for me, this story has taken on a whole new level. But then simultaneously, you had the bloodline thing going on here. And then last Survivor Series, wasn't it? When CM Punk came back.
When Punk arrived,
It was like, what? So this is a totally
separate story. And then Seth and Punk from the jump.
Man.
I mean, they're having issues on Raw. That may be your Mania match, which I think was scheduled for this year or last year's WrestleMania 40s. Didn't happen because Punk's injury, so they may still revisit that.
And then you had like this little thing with it was who the hell was it? Sammy and somebody else. They were doing one of those WWE things where you're sitting there watching a part of their match or whatever. I can't remember who it was. Was it Randy? I can't remember. But anyway. CM Punk comes out and I forget who it was sitting there next to him, and he asked him, like, how'd you feel about that? And he just nonchalantly goes, when somebody as long as I've known him, whatever, we have our differences, whatever. But he's like, we talked, moved on. But there's still a lot of things that are left unsaid, whatever the case may be. Because again, this is where the real world turns, goes from wrestling to real life shit. Like, there was a real life beef with a lot of these guys years ago. And he said, we had a conversation backstage, which I'm pretty sure they all did. You know what I mean? But the best stories come from real life shit. Seth and him may have worked this out at some point in real life, whatever. But like, there's real life problems here. Like, we're hashing up real beef.
Yeah.
Masqueraded by wrestling. You know what I mean?
And again, you're blurring that line to where reality meets fiction, but at the same time, because of that, it makes it more intriguing too. But like again, it's something that AEW is lacking in some regards. The best thing they had was Jack Perry after the whole CM Punk incident, and they really didn't do a whole lot with it.
Yeah,
they just didn't want to talk about it. I mean, they mentioned it occasionally, but they just don't have that extra level yet, you know.
And I
I
think
wanted to.
I think too, I mean, you remember back in the day, Attitude Era, whatever, there was real life disputes with the whole click thing. That's how DX came to be. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was a real life situation that they turned into, you know what I mean? Like, hell, Kurt Angle did it. In TNA, that story with Jeff Jarrett, Kurt's wife, turned into a real thing. Like they used it as
Matt Hardy and Edge.
Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita turned it into a real story. Like, I think if you can do it, it doesn't look cheesy and it's not tacky. When you do it right, it looks, again, Seth and Drew look like a couple of nut jobs, because they're like, this has to be an alternate world. Like, we're not living in reality where everybody thinks this is hunky dory and this guy is, you're giving this guy everything he fucking wants, when legitimately for 4 years we were all under his damn boot and nobody, have we forgotten about it? And then CM Punk walks his way back in and it's like, this fucking dude, like, it's great.
By the way, Slara, the assassin, I understand wrestling's not everybody's cup of tea. Don't worry, we're going to be getting to some other things too. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. We're going to move on. But at the same time, that's part of the show. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
Obviously, these guys like it. So
yeah, we're glad that you're here though. So stick around. But Mike in the chat, before we move on from wrestling, we are leaning on a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're right. Trivia. He said, who did the Hulk Hogan? Hulk Hogan defend the world title against at the first Saturday night's main event? Was it Roddy Piper, Bob Orton, Paul Orndorff, or the Iron Sheik? Well, I don't believe it was the Iron Sheik because he won the title from him, and I don't believe it was Roddy. I'll go with
Bob Orton.
Bob Orton. Yeah, that'd be my guess too. You have to let us know how right we were on that. And he also said Jeff Jarrett said his dad Jerry had a sign in his office that said something like "Personal issues make money." Again, good pro wrestling sense there for sure.
You can pull it off. It's good.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, since we kind of lingered on that a little bit here, let's get moving on a little bit here. We got a lot to talk about. So let's get into some of the movie news, and maybe Matt will come back. I don't know. He dropped out of nowhere for some reason. So.
Something with the cat.
Probably playing with the kitty.
He's probably playing with it. He needs to just understand that the cat's going to become part of the show at some point, so it's going to be the case. I was muting all right, and Mike said Bob Orton was indeed the correct answer. So, all right, let's get into some of the movie news then. Let's get rolling. Obviously, the big news coming out of the world of movie news this week is, of course, coming from Marvel Studios and the MCU. With filming scheduled to begin in spring of 2025, we are officially starting to get casting updates for the next Avengers film, and it has officially been confirmed. Chris Evans will return in Avengers Doomsday, but the question is, as who? Who is Chris Evans going to be playing here? Now, obvious easy answer would be Captain America, right? But I mean, you could do a Captain America from another universe, I suppose, kind of like what they do with Wolverine and Deadpool.
I thought we were done with that, though.
I understand, and maybe we are. But again, it's kind of like one of those things where you obviously cast Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. You're casting Chris Evans. I have a hard time believing they're not going to eventually kind of come back and play their role at least one more time before they recast everybody. But we'll have to wait and see. They obviously have other things in mind, I think. Or, as Slayer, the assassin in the chat, mentioned, hopefully Johnny Storm. But again, as Brandon just said, we just saw it in Deadpool and Wolverine. I wouldn't be against it. Maybe an alternate reality, Johnny Storm, a different version. Absolutely. But it would probably take a little bit away from his appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine to do that, in my opinion. So, again, not a bad idea. It would be different. But we just saw it, and this version anyway got murdered. So at the same time, that one's not coming back. But there's two other situations that could be interesting. We can always see Chris Evans come back as Nomad,
which was what we kind of got in.
But yeah, but a version of Cap is this a version basically where he doesn't trust the government and in some cases is on the run, which we kind of got, as Brandon mentioned, in Infinity War. So again, is that the most likely scenario?
No.
I think what we're getting is this, as Brandon mentioned earlier, and that is, of course, Captain Hydra. So yeah, and Slayer, that's a good point. Liking Chris Evans better as Johnny than Steve Rogers. that's perfectly fair. I mean, I like Johnny Storm too, especially a little bit more on the mouthy side of things for sure. But at the same time, I love Captain America too. But like Brandon said, we've seen it over and over again now at this point. So this would be something different with Captain Hydra. So what are your thoughts on this, Brandon, before I explain why I think this is going to happen?
So I think that you're right. I think it'll be Hydra Cap, but at the same time, I do believe we will see the Fantastic Four in Doom.
Yes,
but it'll be a totally different. It won't be Johnny. It won't be him playing Johnny Storm. That's not going to happen.
No.
Your best bet is him as Captain Hydra, like full on. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm still not sure about the whole Doom thing, whether it's going to be Tony Stark is Doom.
Yeah, I don't know. They say it's not, but it's hard. Like, to me, it's like it makes almost more sense to do it as an evil Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
But there's gonna be people who hate that if you do it. You know what I mean? So, well, I thought at one point maybe you were you not against that at one point?
No, I said it would make sense.
Okay.
I said I would be more upset if he came back as Victor Von Doom, and it's like that's not Victor.
Well, that a lot of people feel like with Victor Von Doom, you need more than just like 2 big movies with him, and that's it. Like the Victor Von Doom of the MCU hopefully is still around. That's what they're hoping for anyway. So you might be right. And if that's the case, I'd be perfectly fine because again, when Robert Downey Jr. was announced as Dr. Doom, he literally said the words, "New mask, same task." So if he is Tony Stark, an evil one from an alternate reality, he would be like, still trying to want to save the world, but maybe like his Ultron idea worked or something like that. And he was able to build all these robots that end up being the Doombots or things like that and end up ruling the world instead because of his ego. So that would make a lot more sense if you ask me.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait and see if that's where they go. But as Brandon that's fine. Welcome back, buddy. As Brandon kind of mentioned, though, I mean, there is a cast already being kind of formed here for this new movie, and this is what we know for certain so far that is confirmed. We know that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. Chris Evans is Captain America, or whoever it might be. Anthony Mackie will probably be the Captain America in Doomsday, as he's getting his own movie this February. Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. Tom Holland Spider-Man. The new cast of the Fantastic Four will be in this as well as at least some of the Thunderbolts. We don't have actual confirmation how many Thunderbolts are going to be in it, but this is a cast so far, and reports have already stated that this film will have at least 60 characters in it. So this list is a drop in the bucket. Needless to say, for sure. Before we move on here,
it's going to be a lot of Marvel superheroes.
Oh yeah, it's going to be apocalyptic. I mean, we're dealing with multiverses and worlds colliding, literally, things like that. Mike said, "Did you see something about Eric Bana's Hulk possibly making a return?" I did not.
Yeah, I did not.
Wouldn't be surprised. They're going to probably pull all these different characters from all the old Marvel movies that didn't have anything to do with the MCU. Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider and all sorts of crazy stuff. So you could definitely be seeing that. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. I'd be more shocked if they get back Edward Norton as the Hulk, because him and Marvel left on bad terms. Him and Terrence Howard as Rhodey. I mean, if you got those back, that could be interesting too. But never say never. Money talks for sure. But with all that going on, we also got confirmed tonight. Before we went live on the channel, that Haley Atwell will also be returning for Avengers Doomsday. So that kind of leads the credence to the idea that maybe it is Captain America. Or maybe she's coming back as Captain Carter from the What If series. She was in Doctor Strange 2 as that character as well. You'll be seeing that on top of things. But either way, be good to see her back. It's never a bad thing to add talent. But even reports even went so far. Well, this is a picture of her as Captain Carter. But reports even went so far as to state that a Chris Evans return as Captain America was going to happen previously already in a standalone film featuring Evans and Haley Atwell, but a story could not get nailed down. I don't know about you. It's simple. You make Steve Rogers return the stones and you film it and you show us what happened when he did that back in time, and you could get Haley Atwell with that. So why we may not be getting this movie or TV series now, from the sounds of it, is beyond me. Be a huge missed opportunity if that was the plan. And just because they're rushing to the end of the multiverse saga now, they couldn't get a good story done in time before Doomsday. That's going to suck. So I hope that they maybe could even kind of retroactively do this movie once they get the story nailed down, kind of like they did the Black Widow movie, and kind of go back and put it in the timeline. You could do that. Slaughter the Assassin said, "I like the Eric Bana Hulk. The comic book style film was a nice." Yeah, I did like the aesthetic. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Anybody? It's kind of the way like intercut and like a comic book would. So I thought that was cool. It's just the rest of it was a little. He looked like the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah,
In that movie, you know what I mean? Just kind of just me personally. Yeah. So why do I think it's going to be Captain Hydra though? Well, we already got a tease of it in Endgame when Cap said the infamous line from the comic book to Jasper Sitwell in the elevator when he leaned over and whispered "Hail Hydra" to kind of get the scepter and the stone from the scepter out of the elevator, trying to retrieve all those. So that's already a thing. And this is, of course, the comic book panel where he literally, became Captain Hydra. And, of course, comic book nerds, freaked out like crazy when this happened. Like, how could Cap possibly go evil, right? So there is precedent for it. And not only that, back when this film was originally titled Avengers Kang Dynasty, before Jonathan Majors got in trouble with the law and all that sort of good stuff, and they had to get rid of him, unfortunately. I still think he could come back eventually once some time has passed. We'll just have to wait and see. But one rumored plot for the movie at that time had the current Avengers that will be assembling soon on camera facing off against evil versions of the old school OG Avengers. So, but if true, this plot is likely being retooled with Robert Downey Jr. as the main villain in Doctor Doom instead of Kang the Conqueror. So, I mean, what would you think about an OG Avengers, like all the Avengers from the original Avengers movie? Black Widow, being an evil version, Clint, the Hawkeye, Hulk, Thor going against the new Avengers with a couple of those thrown in.
Eric,
that'd be kind of cool.
I'm going to after what you're saying right there.
Yeah.
I think we already have seen the evil version of Clint.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, maybe this one.
At the end of Endgame, Endgame, Clint, they asked if you would come back, and Clint kind of gave a weird response, like, "There is no going back for me." Like they showed you, this is what's going to happen to these heroes.
Well, there's a reason why. There was a reason why that happened. Clint was trying to deal with the whole thing with Natasha and all that, the whole Ronin thing. Like, that was the whole kickoff there. Like, I don't want to say he's necessarily evil. He just was like, I'm done with all this shit.
He was getting to that point of no return, but he was able to come back in the Hawkeye series and stuff like that. But you're not wrong, though. There could be an alternate multiverse, version out there of a guy who did not turn back.
Eric, what I feel like is I feel like that was their way of giving you just a peep show of where they're going.
You may not be wrong, and they could very well go full bore with the Ronin character then.
Well, I'm just saying, if I've learned anything through watching the Avenger movies and the entire Marvel MCU leading up to Thanos, it was a massive foreshadowing. And I'm just saying, they may be going to the same direction, right, Brandon?
I mean, yeah, the Marvel they're pretty good at throwing these little tidbits out there at rare occasions where something is said or something is done, you don't pay much attention to it, you move on, and then it pays itself off later. Yeah, I understand that too, and I could see that happening. But like, would it be cool? But then that's another kind of version of a Civil War situation, also. But I mean, would it be cool to see it? Yeah. Do you need it? No, because we talked. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we've talked here about how the emotional dynamic that it would be for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to go up against a Doctor Doom that looks exactly like his mentor, Tony Stark. If you have all the OG Avenger actors come back and do the same thing with characters they've interacted with in their past movies, they would all have those emotional battles. You know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine what that would be like, though, for him?
It'll be great storytelling.
It'll be absolutely outstanding storytelling. And, that's why a lot of people who poo-pooed on the idea of Robert Downey Jr. come back to Dr. Doom, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
I predict that is the death of the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
No.
Well, I don't think so. If rumors are true, he's still got like another 6 projects in. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But we're going to have to get into that, too, just a little bit. Because not only did we have news this week about Chris Evans coming back and a few cast members being confirmed for the film, with more to come, obviously, as shooting has begun. Will begin to film early next year. We also got news this week for another Marvel franchise, and that is, of course, the Sony Spider-Man spinoff universe known as the Spunk. Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters appears to mercifully be dead for now. For now, I'm going to stress that. with the release of Kraven the Hunter not even happening yet this weekend, Sony has already taken a knee because Kraven is only being shown on 3,000 screens this weekend, down 25% from Venom 3, which just debuted back a few months ago. And it debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with a dismal 9% approval rating.
Jesus.
It's predicted to make only $13 to $15 million domestically at the box office on its opening weekend, which puts it
wrong with that movie then.
Which puts it behind or on par with the awful Madam Web's $15 million domestically.
That sucks because the trailers looked awesome.
Yeah, it did. I thought it looked.
What happened?
Everybody's saying that Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven is pretty good, but the rest of the movie is just garbage. Like the CGI is terrible, the story sucks. You name it.
Jesus
it's just
Christ.
another Sony bad problem here.
So the one I didn't watch any reviews, but the one critique I heard from a show that I was listening to, and all they did was give a brief little their take on it. It's a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, well, and I'm gonna get into that too in just a second. Mike said never saw any of the Venom movies. The first one was really good. The second two, they're the best of the entire Sony universe outside of the Spider-Man stuff, obviously. But with just the villain-centric stuff, the Venom stuff is the best trilogy. But the first one's the only actual really, really good one in my opinion. The other ones are just good to okay. Slaughter the Assassin in the chat again says it may be because they never gave anyone a reason to see the movie. You're not wrong, because obviously they're not focusing on the main central point of their property, and that is of course Spider-Man himself.
Yeah.
But what makes me so upset about all this though is that every time Sony puts out a half-assed movie like these, it hurts the overall comic book movie genre, especially Marvel. It just drags the MCU down with it. That's why I can't understand this. Regardless of Sony's failures, it doesn't sound like Sony, though, will be selling the rights back to Marvel anytime soon, although they should.
Which I don't know why.
It's stupid. But here, I'm going to explain to you a little bit why.
It was sold back to Marvel.
Well, it wouldn't be good for Sony. That's the whole point. Because the Spider-Man IP itself is too valuable. Sony makes a killing on the video games alone that you love to play.
So then keep the games and sell them. Like I understand what you're saying as far as like they want the intellectual property. I am 1,000% sure there's a way in a contract for them to do both, to keep the intellectual, either get paid for it, but allow somebody else to make the movies. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
constantly.
Which is what I'm hoping. I'm going to get into in a second. What I hope is actually going to happen. I hope. Not to cut you off, but anyway,
you're good.
Slayer the Assassin said it would have been better if they introduced him in a bigger movie. I think you're talking about Kraven. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And I think that the original idea, I thought I read somewhere that original idea for Spider-Man No Way Home, that Kraven was going to be the main antagonist at one point until they started to go all multiversal with it. So it would have actually set up his film. Yeah, you're right. And if they were to have done the same thing with some of these other characters, yes. But I still think you still needed a Spider-Man-centric character in it to make it the best it could possibly be. Yeah, so obviously, all the Rotten Tomato scores and stuff is just, terrible for this movie.
Which is sad because I actually look forward to that movie.
Kraven. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Kraven I thought had potential. Like you said, we reviewed the trailer for it on the podcast, and we thought it had potential.
Hell, I felt the same way about Morbius too. Like I thought it was going to be a good movie, but then it turned out to be completely shit. So
a little bit of ass butter.
Ass butter, brother.
Butter for sure.
That is a new term.
I've been saying ass butter for a hot minute.
I've not heard that one yet. That's a good one.
But while Sony will likely never sell the rights, let's see here. We may get the best of both worlds, though. Best case scenario, Sony keeps the rights, is that every Sony project moving forward has some ties to the MCU after Secret Wars and are focused on Spider-Verse characters with Spider-Man powers. That would be the best case scenario if they keep the rights.
Yeah.
Have you filled Aaron in?
Well, I think you can kind of pick up where we're at.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Spider-Man universe that is officially dead, and that is, of course, all the villain-centric Spider-Man movies as of right now. We'll see if it lasts. Or the best-case scenario, if Sony somehow does give the rights back to Disney, Marvel Studios can then use their characters and just pay Sony a cut for every Spider-Man property they make. That's the thing I think they should have done.
Yes.
Like, you make a deal with Sony, be like, all right, we want the rights to buy and the creative back to do anything we want with the Spider-Man stuff. But I can't remember who has the merchandise rights. It could be Disney, I think, at this point. But so every property we make with a Spider-Man movie in a solo movie, you get this amount of cut. If he's in an Avengers movie, maybe a little less, but you still get a good amount of cut. We make the movies for you. You reap the rewards, and we get a cut off the box office of the ticket sales and things like that. Why can't you make that deal?
Didn't they do that the first time?
Well, the first time, they basically agreed to share him, but it sounds like there was a little more. I saw a report that stated that Sony does not actually have the right to use Peter Parker's Spider-Man in any of their movies because of the deal with Disney that they want him solely in the MCU. They don't want Sony screwing it up for good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but it also kind of hamstrings Sony in that regard, and that may be why we're getting some of this. So it may not be all Sony's fault, but it sounds like moving forward, Sony's sole focus will be on Spider-Man 4 in the MCU, the Beyond the Spider-Verse animated film with Miles Morales, completing that trilogy of films, and it'll wrap up with a spin-off as well with the live-action Spider-Man Noir series starring Nicolas Cage, who voiced the character in the Beyond the Spider-Verse trilogy as well. All three projects have a Spider-Man in them. All three are also different. So enough with the villains as the main character BS. While that concept can work, it has to have good to great writing, and Sony has just not had that, but it can be done. See the first Joker movie, not so much the second. So it can be done without the main character in it. But to be fair, though, because of the whole Marvel, maybe not allowing Sony to have a Spider-Man in their film, generally speaking, though, there are more than enough Spider-Man characters I'd love to see put on film before villains. Like, pick any of these characters here on screen. Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Punk, hell, Spider-Ham from the animated movie would have been more entertaining. Black Cat, you introduced her in a Spider-Man movie and spin her off. Or Miles Morales in live action, which will definitely happen. More on that in just a second. But villains are great, but they're usually used best when they're there to serve the hero story. So Sony may have finally learned their lesson, but time will tell on that one. And the reason why I say time will tell, and it's for now, one of the main reasons they were putting out crappy movie after crappy movie was simply to hold on to the rights. In the contract, it states that if Sony doesn't make a new Spider-Man property film every 5 years, Marvel gets the rights back outright.
Oh, wow.
So they were pumping out garbage just to keep the IP. And will they have to go back to that after Secret Wars? I hope not. But what I hope doesn't happen is that Sony gets fed up from not being able to use their most prized character and they rip him out of the MCU where Spider-Man has had its most success. That's the big concern right now. So, thoughts on that in general?
That's a dumb idea.
To rip him out of the MCU? Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I do believe stopping this universe that is literally going nowhere is a good thing.
I think Sony needs to make different movies.
Look.
Maybe give up on the idea of superheroes.
I don't know, because for what they were, Sony made Blade.
I don't remember if they did or
no.
Who was it that did Blade?
But here's the thing. Regardless, just stick the Spider-Man movies alone. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, especially Spider-Man 2. The first two were great. The Amazing Spider-Man, some people didn't like, but a lot of people love it now. And they made, the animated Miles Morales stuff so far, and that's been outstanding. Hold on a second.
Now,
so that's all Sony.
They love the Amazing Spider-Man because MCU made you love the Amazing Spider-Man.
No. Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, after No Way Home, it had its following. But yeah, that movie kind of retroactively made those movies better.
Eric and Brandon, you guys are comic book nerds.
I'll give you that.
Okay? So listen to me on this, okay? Would you guys agree with my statement on this? And I know I've asked Brandon this multiple times at work. Do you think that Andrew Garfield's version is the most comic book accurate Spider-Man? Not Peter Parker, Spider-Man. See
what you're saying. Because every one of the iterations, it's kind of like, Batman. Who was a better Bruce Wayne or Batman? To me, growing up, Tobey Maguire was my Spider-Man. That was how I always viewed him. I thought he had both parts right.
The reason why I throw some shade onto Tom Holland is because I feel like Tom Holland's Spider-Man it's all Tony Stark stuff. You know, it's like Tony Stark laid the groundwork for him to become Spider-Man. He didn't do it on his own.
Well,
He
that's
just
why
walked the path that was given to him.
That's why everybody's excited about Spider-Man 4. Kevin Feige, Tom Holland, and all those people at Marvel Studios, apparently, according to reports, wanted Spider-Man 4 to be grounded and just about Spider-Man. I think even Amy Pascal from Sony said that it was going to be more about him being Spider-Man because he couldn't deal with being Peter Parker after what happened with the last movie where he had to give up his girlfriend, his best friend, all this stuff. So that was kind of the path there, and they still may go down that part of it. But Sony executives also stated that they wanted a big multiversal movie like the last one because they want more money. So
here's the thing. I agree with you, Eric. I think Tobey Maguire was the perfect Spider-Man to start with. Okay.
Just the one problem is I think in the comics he didn't produce his own webbing, but there's different comics, so maybe.
But also the cast in that movie also made that movie. The Green Goblin was fucking phenomenal. I swear, but Tom Holland's version, the reason why I think I enjoyed his more, and I get what you're saying, Matt, about the whole Tony Stark influence, I guess, but at the same time, I think that showed him growing more so as a hero than anything else. And I think that Spider-Man kind of needed that little push because Spider-Man always been, no matter what, a kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It was just a different take on it. It was one way to bring Robert Downey Jr. back too. Because remember, a lot of people forget this. Robert Downey Jr. was set to leave after Avengers: Age of Ultron. They re-upped him for Civil War. Then they re-upped him some more. So it was a storyline to kind of sink his teeth into too.
Yes, but it's also one of those things too, like where Tony saw a lot of himself in a sense in Peter. So giving him the means to become a better hero was the same thing that Tony got from the Avengers. Means to be a better hero. So like I'm perfectly fine with that too. But
and the way they wrote it, I think it turned out just fine.
Yes.
So if you're nothing without this suit, you shouldn't have it. It worked for him. It works for Spider-Man. So it actually made a lot of narrative sense.
Now, I will say this. Spider-Man always has a very... I'm bringing it back to the whole fucking villain thing here, too. Spider-Man's villains are pretty cool. He has, like, the Batman gauntlet of villains.
I was going to say second to Batman, but yeah, that's in Marvel. Yeah.
A lot of them aren't your world-ending fucking, villains here, but a lot of them are big-time villains, but a lot of them are glorified henchmen who control certain shit. But he does have, Doc Ock is an awesome villain for him. Ultra.
I'd still love to see those OG villains come back too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
Goblin is one of the, oh my God. Goblin is like Marvel's, in my opinion, Marvel's version of Joker.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
And a lot of people like to cast Willem Dafoe as the Joker fan cast.
Because he nailed it.
It makes sense. He nailed it. Yeah.
Like he nailed it. I don't know. Again, we've had this discussion about Joker too. For me, the best Joker outside of Jack Nicholson, who I thought was amazing as Joker, was God damn it, his name. Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yeah.
Loved him. And his iteration of Joker. With the villains though, it sucks because like Kraven would have been great in any other Batman movie if you'd, or not Batman, Jesus, Spider-Man movie if you put him in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hell, think about Mysterion. Yeah, that's his name.
Mysterion from South Park.
Not Mysterion.
Mysterio, yes.
Mysterio.
I thought they did Mysterio well.
That's what I'm saying.
If
you'd have just put him in a movie, it'd have been ass. Because there are certain characters you can't put. Blue Beetle. There are certain characters without the proper setting does not work.
Yeah.
Solo. It just does not work. You need certain things. I don't care. Like I felt this way about the first Suicide Squad. You made a reference to Batman, but you never really saw him.
Well, he was in that the first.
You saw the car.
5 minutes, and that was about it.
Yeah. But like it's like you you need that hero to establish that villain no matter what. No matter how fucking brief it is, you need that though. Because otherwise it's just this, oh yeah, it's a Spider-Man villain. I don't give a shit about his origin story. Like it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it ties into that hero, I don't care.
I hear you.
And I think that's why they felt this way, is because it was like, without this, it means nothing. Everybody know who Venom was. Venom, for all intents and purposes, is a dope ass villain / anti-hero.
Which is why I think that would work more.
It doesn't work without Spider-Man too.
Yeah,
it's because still, that interaction between the two is what you need.
Never even had the Spider-Man logo on his chest, or the spider powers. You know what I mean? So
yeah, him swinging through the. Don't get me wrong. I love the comedic aspect of and it sucks because I like who's the actor? What is his name
Tom Hardy.
Me right now? Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I loved him as Venom. I thought it was great. I thought the interactions he has, like how he talks to himself, and
chocolate and tater tots.
I love it. It's hilarious. But you're missing that other element, and that other element is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And not having that, it just sucks.
Yeah. Kind of move things a little bit along here too. If we got some more stuff. Slara the Assassin said, as to Madam Web, it may have lost viewers because people are tired of strong female leads thrown down their throat. And again, I got nothing wrong with strong female leads or female leads in general, but you're not wrong. They're doing this whole, when we've talked about this in our politics section a lot, how about all the woke DEI stuff that Hollywood is just jamming down our throats. It's like, we get it, treat everybody equally, we get it. We should have been taught that in elementary school, kindergarten. And there's some people obviously have a problem with it, but there's nothing wrong with it. But just
they managed to do that. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just gonna say, no, there is a lot wrong with it. It's like he's right.
They made it work in Black Panther while also keeping Black Panther the way he was. Did you just fart, big dog?
I don't know what.
Oh no, it's my chair.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
The way that sounded was crazy.
Oh, like somebody had a whoopee cushion. That was awesome.
They managed to pull off strong female characters in a movie about a male main character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not like these were like little side things. These women were very prominent through this movie because the Dora Milaje play a big part in Black Panther. The way they managed to make his sister very strong character throughout that. Like, there's ways to do your goal that you want to accomplish without a full female cast. And I'm not saying like it's a bad thing in the sense of like, if you have it, you have it. But when you do it the way that you do it, and it makes it just seem cheap. And
they made her honor her brother in the.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to criticize Black Panther too much because obviously they were under some dire circumstances. They had to do something.
No, but it worked because they built up to you believing that Shuri could pull this off.
Yeah. And it had precedent in comics, and a lot of people wanted a recast, which it sounds like they're going to do eventually anyway. But at the time, if you recast at the time, everybody's going to get mad at you. So I think they're trying to do the best of both worlds there. They might be okay with that once they age up.
I'm fine with the whole Black Panther thing. I'm just saying Madam Web ended up the way it did is because you took the wrong fucking approach to the situation and you tried to get this pro woman thing. And it's like, there are a lot of strong female characters in comics. There's a lot of them who, hell, Wonder Woman didn't have any of that shit. And the first one was great. And there's a way to do it.
Although it's hard to do Wonder Woman without like a strong female presence. But I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of Themyscira.
Which is funny because in Creature Commandos, which I'm going to dabble on just a second here in a minute, but they're actually talking about the men of Themyscira a little bit for the first time in television and movies, from what I can remember anyway. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Slara the Assassin said, as far as the films, Miles Morales is the best Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire just cried too much and it wasn't a good cry. It was ugly. You're not wrong. It was bad.
His face was crazy work.
Don't say that. You still love it, right?
Was crazy work.
Don't leave Mary Jane. Yeah.
His face, you're right. Damn.
Not wrong at all. But to wrap this up a little bit here. As for Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland's version of the character, it appears that Holland still has a lot of time left with Peter Parker. Potentially 6 projects left, 2 Avengers films, 3 more solo films, and an unknown project we don't know about just yet. But before he most likely will hand the reins over in the MCU to the newly introduced live-action Miles Morales. As for Maguire and Garfield, we're not getting more solo films from them from the sounds of it, despite some fans' wishes and hopes. We'll likely only see them 1 or 2 more times, and their stories will officially come to close in Avengers Secret Wars, which is why I think they kept Tobey Maguire alive at the end of No Way Home to begin with. I think they wanted to use him in Secret Wars, as will all of the multiverse storylines and non-MCU films from the past, like the X-Men stuff and everything. The MCU will officially reset with a brand new singular timeline focus with almost all of their characters at their disposal for the first time. So that begs the question. With all the non-MCU films finally getting put to rest and many OG Avenger characters most definitely getting recast following Secret Wars in the upcoming rebooted universe, how many emotional deaths are we going to see in the next 2 Avengers movies? Like Robert Downey Jr., Spider-Man, or Gamora, or Black Widow from...
But that's the thing. Are they going to mean anything?
Well, after this, supposedly the multiverse, they're done with it. So it will be one brand new restart, reboot, new cast. I mean, even if you kill like some of them, though, the new universe is made, and then a new Tony Stark could be in that new universe. So for that particular, I see your point. But going down the line, they're not going to, after this, supposedly they're not going to have the excuse just to bring them back because of an alternate universe.
Yeah, I got you.
So
I don't know. I guess in Secret Wars, who will we see die?
Well, to help you out a little bit, here's the list I put together of who I think could maybe survive, and I'll show you the ones who I think could die and get recast. I think all of these, the actors.
He's 90 shit is hilarious.
The what?
To tell he's 90 shit is hilarious.
Yeah, right. But I think because of that, he's not getting recast. They're talking like he may actually do it for a while now. So that's cool. So I think all of these characters, they've either just been cast or they've still got time on their contracts and they are going to be around for a while. So I think all of them could definitely be sticking around if you want to look at that. Obviously, I don't know. Fantastic Four just got cast. Spider-Man we talked about. The Young Avengers, they're going to be boosting them up here in the next few years. Sam Wilson's Captain America. Shuri, I think she's going to hand the mantle back to her nephew, I guess.
Yeah.
Deadpool, even though Ryan Reynolds just come out today and was talking about how Deadpool may be more of a side character moving forward instead of.
I hate the fact that they screwed up. Well, they did what they did with She-Hulk.
Yeah, and I just put her here mostly because they just introduced her. I have a hard time believing they're just going to get rid of her.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I don't know. There may be adjusted stuff. Now, as for the dead ones and ones who could get recast, obviously any old X-Men character they bring back for Secret Wars, they're not coming back after the reboot. They'll all get recast, but I feel like
Jean Grey though.
Yeah, she was dead. But again, alternate realities you're dealing with here, so you can probably find one. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield will get recast in some way. Wesley Snipes Blaze, Nicolas Cage's, Ghost Rider, or whoever it may be from the past. The OG Avengers, I think, will get recast, with the exception of maybe Hulk and Thor, because there's rumors going around of Thor getting a 5th film. Obviously, they set it up. And then Hulk, World War Hulk may still be coming down the line. Loki, Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, Rhodey, Bucky. We'll see if he continues with the Thunderbolts. Doctor Strange could be interesting. Maybe he sticks around, or maybe he retires and somebody else takes over the mantle. But you got to figure he would become the Sorcerer Supreme at some point if Wall dies.
Yeah.
Wong, I mean. So T'Challa, Ant-Man, Wasp, Vision. So some of those guys may get killed. So sounds like we're in for an interesting reset there, if you're asking me when it comes to the World War.
Now, the whole Wonder Man deal too.
Yeah, I forgot to add him, but you're right.
Do you know how that's a thing, right? Like how
I don't know a whole lot about that character, unfortunately.
All right, I'll explain it to you later then.
Okay, yeah, well, that's for another podcast for sure. We got a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
But before we move on, Mike said, question, Matt's superhero villain name is the Great White Jinx, and Brandon is Chocolate Thunder.
That's crazy.
How about the rest of you? What would be your
superhero
villain name? I'd be the Iron Knee.
Why is it the
I'd be busting through all sorts of brick walls like the Kool-Aid Man.
Why can't it be like
That's crazy work, bro.
Why can't it be like like the Crimson Chin or something like that,
Why would it be the Crimson Chin? You just taking body parts.
Oh, you've never watched Fairly Odd Parents? Eric?
Kristen Chen's the superhero from Fairly Odd Parents.
I'll show you a picture later. That's hilarious. You said that.
Fair enough.
Great white jinx.
All right. Well, we had one more movie news item I wanted to talk about, which ties into a lot of this. Obviously, DC. Oh yeah, DC is ramping up things as well. Hey, don't boo it. Mike preferred DC for a long time. I don't know if he still does or not. We are set to get the first trailer for Superman sometime next week, according to reports. And piggybacking off the villain-centric Spider-Man universe that we just talked about that's dying, DC Studios has officially greenlit a villain-centric movie of their own, a Clayface movie with a script written by Mike Flanagan, notable for his contribution to the horror genre. Details were released right before we went live tonight on the podcast, where James Gunn has confirmed it will be a horror tragedy film and will have a small budget of $40 million and take place inside the new DCU universe, whose first chapter or phase is titled Gods and Monsters and will officially kick off with Superman next summer. And Clayface will not be painted as the villain. That's important. He will not be painted as the villain of this film. Now, if you know a little, I mean, I don't remember all the versions of the character, but what I remember most of it's a person who basically has an accident, who can shapeshift, things like that. But it's more of an accident that happens to him. It's a tragic character, like they said, and they did that pretty well, I thought, in the animated series for Batman as well. The character will be appearing in an episode of Creature Commandos currently streaming on Max, which you can check out now, and will likely spin off from that show, as it appears characters such as Rick Flag Sr., also shown here on the picture, Sergeant Rock, and many others will as well be getting their own solo films or appearing in Superman or what have you. Clayface was also featured in Batman the Animated Series back in the 90s, as I mentioned. Now, Matt Reeves, the director of The Batman, has been listed as a producer on the Clayface film, though, which led many to speculate that it could be set in the Batman universe, although it's rather fantastical and would actually fit better in the new DCU with some of their elements and some of the crazy stuff they got going over there.
You know what, Eric?
Yeah.
The last Batman movie seemed like it was more that direction. Like it was like a horror film.
Oh, it had
it's a lot darker. I think too, like,
but it's more realistic, not fantastic like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It might work,
the way they portrayed the Riddler in that movie,
serial killer,
I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and if you've not seen the Penguin on Max, by the way, the continuation of that story is also great. About 5 episodes.
The way they did Falcone, the way they did all the mob bosses, I thought that was awesome.
But based on that, this don't fit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because that's a side of DC that they're not showing you. And I think Clayface, back to where you're talking about Clayface, I think Clayface is the start of that, them adding that villain towards that direction. At first, he won't be portrayed as a villain. He'll be portrayed as something else.
That's very well true. And James Gunn has said from the front, or from the jump, that the new DCU will be more comic booky, like the animated series, a little more fantastical, because they literally are calling the first chapter Gods and Monsters. So this does fall in line with that perfectly. Clayface is reportedly set to begin filming in early 2025. And but will this be something similar to how Sony handled their villain-centric Spidey films? Will this not work without Batman in the movie?
I don't
think so. Or will it be like the Joker movie and work out great?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder.
Here's the thing, and I will say I do like this about this new direction that DC is going in.
It's different.
But it's also too, like, Gotham is the complete opposite of Metropolis. Metropolis is always sunny, bright, sun's out type shit.
Yeah.
Gotham is a very dark fucking city.
Oh yeah.
And by the villains that are there, and Batman being a hero that has no superpowers, mind you, like he just got a bank account.
I'm rich. yeah.
And a guy who knows how to make military fucking weapons.
Or to quote Dave Chappelle, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like Elon Musk.
Yeah. He's Iron Man.
But the way they like, if you've played, and I know Matt has been playing them recently too, any of the Arkham games themselves, like Batman is put up against the fucking wall with these villains. Whether it's being outsmarted by the Riddler, outplayed and forced to make choices by Joker, dealing with the Penguin and his mob
choices,
and Two-Face, and you know what I mean? Like, but then there's also Clayface running around. There's also the is it Man Bat or whatever the hell it is?
Man-Bat,
Uh,
Firefly,
Another
Killer
accident,
Croc,
but-
Firefly.
Oh my God! I am a big Waylon Jones fan.
So like, Batman is put against the wall a lot of times with a lot of these villains. Hell, Ra's al Ghul, Bane, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy. Like
we can name them all.
He's up against the wall against a lot of these. And again, Gotham is a very dark place where like crime happens on a daily basis there. You know what I mean? Like there's all like for it not to have a horror centric theme around it is weird in the sense of like it ain't fucking sunshine and rainbows here in Gotham. So I personally, for me, enjoy the dark kind of take on the DC aspect of the way Gotham is being done. Now it'll never reach the levels of like Spawn, like that was just on Earth kind of situation. But like
totally different thing anyway.
I enjoy the fact that it has a darker tone to what people would be used to as far as a superhero movie goes, in the sense of like, no, these people live in fucking hell. You know, they don't have a Superman flying around who can
Brandon,
be there.
did you see that movie?
No.
What movie?
You've not seen the Robert Pattinson movie?
No. Oh, yeah, he definitely one you need to check out. I highly recommend it.
But
like I said, that's going to be a completely different universe because it is darker and gritty.
Yeah.
The thing I like, here's the thing: the criticism it was taking this Clayface announcement. There's like 3 movies in, and they're doing Clayface. They're not doing like Batman or. Well, here's the thing: we've done Batman. We've done. We're still starting with Super, and we're still going to get to Batman. We're still going to get to Wonder Woman. We're still going to get to Superman, but. DC has so many other characters we've not tapped yet to a full potential. You got to do something different because what you were doing wasn't working.
But Brandon, you know, like the whole fear aspect that they bring along with Batman.
Yeah.
You know, because fear is his ally. They show you in that movie that he thrives in that environment because they're so scared of him.
Well,
they put criminals in that place.
Dark Knight did that.
One of the
have their meetings in broad daylight. Isn't that what Joker says?
Yeah. But one of the villains that Batman deals with too is also a really good one too. Is Scarecrow, who
that's
who
what
also
I was going to bring
plays
up.
off of that fear.
Who, Matt? The rumor is Scarecrow may be a part of the Batman Part 2. So we'll have to
which would be dope because Scarecrow is a hell of a character.
Please do.
Maybe a part of it. I'm not saying the sole
that.
villain, but yeah, I think he deserves a much bigger role as a villain for sure.
Well, he was great in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little less in the second
character's
movie.
name? He plays as Oppenheimer. What's the actor's name?
Cillian Murphy.
He was beautiful as Scarecrow.
Yeah, he did a great job. Obviously, same director too as Oppenheimer too as well. But
really?
Yeah, he directed Oppenheimer and the Dark Knight trilogy. So yeah,
that explains why Oppenheimer's so good. Okay.
So with the announcement of Clayface, DC tonight has also officially announced release dates for a few films that are coming up here, making the current DC Studios slate look a little bit like this. As of right now, you can check out Creature Commandos on Max, which is the official start of the DCU. But the official start is with the Superman movie coming out in 2025. The animated show is just kind of a prelude to things to come, as it were. But they are already dropping hints of what they're going to do in the bigger movies and television series. You got Creature Commandos now, Superman next summer. Peacemaker Season 2 will be coming out in August of next year as well. Then moving into 2026, we have Lanterns coming out spring or summer of that year. I know Brandon's excited about that one.
Yeah, as long as you don't fuck it up.
They announced an untitled DC film for May 29th, 2026, which is ironically 3 weeks after Doomsday. Interesting. We also got Supergirl that year in June, and Clayface is scheduled for September 11th of 2026, which is a month, less than a month before the Batman Part 2 is scheduled for October 2nd, which tells me the Batman Part 2 is moving probably to 2027 now, which really stinks. Because that movie came out,
But you know what? The fact that it's in October tells me that it's going to be more Halloween themed.
Well, if they move it, it won't be. The first one came out in March, though. And if you look right below that there, Matt, they've also titled an untitled DC film for March 5th of 2025. I think that's where the Batman's moving. That's why Clayface got put in September. And then
maybe they're moving the Clayface movie ahead, so that way they set Clayface up to be the villain in Spider-Man or in the new movie.
Well, again, for what the reports are, it's two different universes, though. Clayface will be in DCU, Batman will be its own thing. Remember, those two universes are not the same. But then they're rounding it off right now with the Dynamic Duo, which is kind of a live-action animated hybrid, telling the story of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd in this universe. So we're getting Raven to pull the rest of that family. So this is the start that they have right now. Like I said, it's not your typical Batman movie first, Superman or Wonder Woman. They're going to get to all of them, Flash and the Justice League. But this is the way they're going so far. A little more fantastical, a little more, it's just different. But I think it has potential, no doubt about it. Mike in the chat said, still DC is his favorite more than Marvel, especially Superman. Long live the memory of the best Superman ever, Christopher Reeve. By the way, Mike, if you have Max and you've not checked out the Christopher Reeve documentary, definitely a high recommendation to watch. Detailing his entire time with Superman and obviously his struggle after he was paralyzed and all that sort of stuff. So definitely recommend that if you're a big Christopher Reeve fan. And Slaughter the Assassin said, I think it has a chance because a lot more people know who Clayface is. Would you argue that more people know who Clayface is more than like Craven or Morbius?
Yeah.
Clayface definitely more than Morbius, but Craven?
Well, look, I guess in the sense of like Clayface was more prominent in the old cartoons, the Batman cartoons back in the day. Craven was there occasionally in a couple of the Spider-Man cartoons, but he wasn't really. I mean, if you want to talk about like a villain that was always there, it would be Fisk. So I get
Fisk kind of vibe.
But
what's that?
What'd you say, man?
Clayface gives me kind of a Fisk kind of vibe, but he does it in his own way. He gives me like the bully side of Fisk.
Yeah, but what they're saying is like,
what do you mean?
I think Clayface is more recognizable in the sense than Craven is because, like I said, Craven was every once in a while he would be, but he was because he was a hired hitman essentially.
What do you guys mean by recognizable?
He got introduced. It was because of Fisk. Clayface has been in a lot of the animated Batman cartoons. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it fits well for an animated world. Yeah.
Yeah. Craven the Hunter was, like I said, like kind of like a special attraction. I think it was like there for like a was it a Halloween thing or something like that? But they also, again, with the last game, he was supposed to be a big part of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't fucking know like how they were going to do it, but like it didn't.
Craven credit, Slayer. Yeah, you guys are on the same page. Bigger presence in the game, so yeah.
That is also true too.
Brandon, you talked about. That's what I was about to say. Brandon, you played Arkham City.
Yeah,
I played them all. Actually, is a major part of Arkham City.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I'm not going to spoil the game for viewers, but
those games are great.
Yeah,
I'll go back and replay them. I don't think I ever played all.
So yeah, I do agree on that aspect. I mean, like I said, Craven was from the voiceover from the trailer, he was the one doing the voiceover in the trailer. So like, and then Venom said, "We are Venom" at the end or whatever, and I was like, "Oh shit, Venom's in this game." But like, Craven was the one that was talking. So like, I don't think they did themselves any fucking favors. I think with the whole Craven thing, like, if there was a way to do it to where Craven would have made a bigger fucking impact, and then you could have done a movie after that. But just doing a movie without having the real, like, well, who the fuck is this guy? You get what you get. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks because, like I said, and Marvel's done it too with a couple heroes, a couple characters. Like I said, Blue Beetle or
that was DC.
Yeah, DC's done it a couple times. Blue Beetle was like. Here's the thing, like, there's a way to do all of this, and like, I'm not trying to say rip off what Marvel did, but damn it, rip off what Marvel did.
They're actually talking about it. Their new universe is going to be more along the Star Wars line of things, where you don't have to watch every single thing. Not everything is going to connect, but overall, I think it will. But you can pick and choose something. If you don't see all of this series, you can still watch this. You know, what I mean? Which is smart.
But yeah, also too.
I think Marvel's going to start doing that too.
This was my pet peeve about the whole Spider-Man thing too. Like, I'm tired of seeing his origin story. You've seen it once, like you got it.
Which is why James Gunn has already said there will be no Superman or Batman origin story already. He's already stated it. So smart. I mean, that's why we're picking up this universe in place already. things have already happened. If things you need to know, we'll go back and tell you. Things you don't need to know, you know the history, for the most part. Piece it together. So that's smart.
Yeah, I mean, we know who these people are.
A lot of them.
Some of
The
us.
ones you don't, we need the stories, which is what they're doing now in Creature Commandos, and I'm sure they'll do with
Clayface. Clayface is a story we don't know.
Not everybody, but yeah, they'll have to tell a little bit there.
Most of, I mean, we follow comics. We know who these people are. They're saying people that don't.
Right, exactly. All right, well, let's move into our next topic here, since we got a few more things to talk about for the night's out.
This college shit.
Hey, your team is in the tournament, so let's get into NFL and college a little bit.
Yeah, Jasper says he disapproves of that, Brandon.
Brother. All right, before we get into the NFL stuff, like we've been talking a little more college, I think, this year because obviously, some of our teams are decent. We speculated, I think, what was it, last week?
Bracket is fucking shit.
About what the bracket could be. Well, now we know that this is the official college football playoff bracket. And obviously, those of us who live in this area, Indiana will now be facing off against another Indiana team in Notre Dame, which is going to cause a lot of interstate rivalry, I'm sure, especially with a few people I work with. I know for certain.
Yeah, I've let her know this week.
That Georgia, whoever plays Georgia, whoever wins this game and has to play Georgia, good fucking luck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to be easy, I'm sure.
Fuck no.
Yes, Mike, if you're listening, I got time to text you. But, yeah, I mean, there'll be a number. I think there'll be one more show before the end of the year, after the Friday after Christmas, I think. So I think that's what I'm thinking, unless you guys have a problem with that.
Nope.
Slayer, the assassin said, go Notre Dame.
That's why
I got a dad who lives up in the area. Like I said, I got a couple of friends at work who like him as well. I got nothing against Notre Dame. I'm just kind of pulling for Indiana because Notre Dame's had some good years. Indiana has not. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, throw us a bone here a little bit. Like Ohio State. Come on, man. Throw us a bone every now and then. Every 70 years, I think you could throw us one,
All I got to say about that Ohio State game is let's go Rocky Top.
Shut the fuck up, man.
What happens if it's Ohio State versus Oregon? Obviously, if they win,
well, I'm gonna be fucking pissed because we watched the first game between Oregon and Ohio State and fuck off. I swear to God,
yeah.
Never mind. Whatever. Nothing. We shouldn't have lost that fucking game. Period. And we only lost because of a bullshit ass call. Whatever.
Oh no! Don't start that.
But no, don't start that. It was the whole. All right.
You're gonna be in timeout.
No kid.
Brandon, I watched the game. You cannot fake an injury. I'm sorry.
Everybody does it. Don't come up here and tell me that shit
this year.
Soccer players do it all the time.
I've heard podcasts where they admit it.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
That's why
the NFL put in a rule that said if you get injured within like the last 2 minutes or something, you must take a timeout.
I love that rule.
So I don't know if apparently college don't do that, but anyway,
soccer players do it all the time.
Rules.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's smart,
And that wasn't the call I was talking about either, Matt. So fuck off.
Yeah, calm down, brother.
That's the rule I thought you were talking about. Brandon.
No.
Mike said, my dad liked IU, but in football was more Notre Dame, so this game hits more for him. Cheering for IU, but won't cry if Notre Dame wins. So, I mean, yeah, at least there's an Indiana team. I kind of feel like we got the short end of the stick, though, because whoever wins, like Brendan said, has to go face Georgia.
Yeah, you got to play Georgia. Like, good luck.
So, I mean, who knows?
Georgia beat Alabama.
It's a tournament. Anything can happen.
Georgia beat Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and Oregon's 13-0. So it is what it is. Like, whether it's Tennessee or Ohio State, that next game is going to be an ass.
It's like pick your poison of the worst. Who would you rather lose to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And SMU and Penn State, they got to play Boise, and nobody saw Boise coming out. So
yeah.
No, Boise's running back though brought them there.
All right, I got to let Loki out. I'll be right back.
All right. All I know is I want to put out a programming note. like I mentioned a second ago, there will probably be no podcast next week due to this game in particular, Indiana versus Notre Dame, because I want to watch it. That's first of all, it's be on during this time. So next Friday, no show. And then, of course, it's the holiday weekend anyway with Christmas the following week. So we'll probably have our next show December 27th, 2 weeks from now, as we just discussed. So hope to see you guys come back for that. Bill Belichick, obviously, is the next topic of conversation here. We obviously got him now the new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels football squad. He signed a 5-year deal where he'll take over a squad that went 6-6 this season, enough to earn a bowl game, which I always thought was a dumb rule in college football. It's like, oh, great, you're mediocre. You won half your team, or half your games. Now you get to have a bowl game, which kind of feels like you're rewarding mediocrity a little bit there. But, yeah, so I don't know. What's your thoughts on, obviously, Matt doesn't feel like he likes this too well, I think.
Boo.
Hey, he's out of the NFL, which he kind of was already
then we
anyway.
had to deal with him in college.
I don't watch college as much, but you know.
You know what? He might take a note out of Harbaugh's book and just start spying on the other teams.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I didn't hear it the other day, but Brandon said that Tomlin was on McAfee's show and said that he's got 2 boys that he's thinking about sending to that college to be coached by him.
Well, that's the thing. He's going to get recruits. I mean,
yeah.
Regardless of how old he might
Indiana's be. Good. That makes me so happy.
I guess that says a lot about him.
I'll go ahead and ask this before we move on too far from college. Mike said, I have to ask Brandon and Miranda if they saw, I know she did, that an Ohio lawmaker is trying to make it a felony to plant a flag on the Buckeyes field. Yeah, I saw that too. I mean, a felony is a little, don't get wrong. I mean, if you want to make it a rule, I just feel like why should a person of the House of Representatives be worried about this when it's probably more a rules commission issue? But I mean, I understand if you don't like it, just beat them. But at the same time, you don't want them hurting each other as well, or cops getting involved and getting hurt, things like that too. Mm-hmm. But because the guy was only he's a representative from Ohio, he can't probably come out and say it should be a national rule. But because he can't say that, it almost comes off as sour grapes too. On the other hand, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't like it that in Ohio we're going to make it a felony in Ohio if you plant a flag on our field if we lose. Maybe that's not the way it's supposed to come off, but I don't know. I had my pros and cons on it. You know what I mean? So,
think about all the other. You got to think about all the other weird. Think about all the other weird laws they used to have. Like if you look them up, it's a felony if you do this, and maybe that's what he's going for.
Maybe he might just be trying to get his name out there a little bit too. I don't know, capitalizing on the situation. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be something that a lawmaker has passed. I think the colleges. I don't know what kind of rules commission they have, but I would assume because like I said last week, it happened at like 3 other schools the same day. I got a feeling that there's going to be a rule in place to where you're not allowed.
Was he hired in?
I gotta say that.
As the athletic director as well?
I don't think so.
Because Bill Belichick is one of those people that likes to be in full control. And I don't really feel like he is going to be in full control at North Carolina. And I don't know. I understand maybe he's wanting a steadier gig.
He probably just still wants to coach, and if the NFL don't have spots for him. And I don't know, a lot of people attribute a lot of his success to Tom Brady. And after Tom Brady, left and retired, the Patriots just haven't done nearly as much. So,
which is why I'm shocked a school like North Carolina would hire him instead of a school like Michigan.
Well,
but
again, if you look at his record before he had Tom Brady with the Patriots, he wasn't the best record head coach. So
I'm not taking anything away from North Carolina. They're a good football school, just as much as they are a basketball school. I'm not taking anything away from them. And I actually wish him the best. I hope that I don't think that he's going to treat it like he did his NFL team. I think he's going to treat it like this is steadier for me. He's going to be given a long leash anyway.
Yeah.
Because of who he is and where he came from. And I think, that's a good – I think it's a good landing spot for him. I don't know if he's going to be like in the national championship conversation.
Hey, you
You
never
know
know.
what I'm
Look what
saying?
Kurt Signetti did here in a year's time. Never
Well,
know.
he's not Kurt Sanguinetti, though. See,
Some
Bill
people would say he's
Belichick.
better.
No, Bill Belichick had his chance with the Patriots, and the game surpassed him. It
Yeah,
surpassed him.
but you also got to remember too, he's like the most winningest head coach, like almost of all time.
I understand
He was
that,
a little shy of that record, but
but the game surpassed. It's
they
like
have.
Eric. It's like Indiana firing Bob Knight and then Texas Tech hiring Bob Knight. Okay, he's going to coach like it was in the 1960s. Well, Bill Belichick is going to coach it like it was in 1998.
Yeah, you might not be wrong about that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but the game is not like it used to be. The reason, see, that's the reason why the Colts got Richardson. That's the reason why the Kansas City got Patrick Mahomes. That's the reason why, because they rush now. They have running quarterbacks. They have different aspects of the game now. The tush push or whatever.
Yeah.
The game is different than it was when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning played. As much as I miss those days and wish we would go back to them, we won't. It's just they're not like that. The level of competition has changed, so therefore the audience must temper their expectations.
Wait till you get older. Wanting to go back to the way things used to be is going to become a thing more.
understand.
The older you get, trust me. Slara, the assassin, said sometimes lawmakers reach too far, and this is one of those times. It just needs to be left to the colleges. I tend to agree with you on that one. I really do. Like I said, it just doesn't feel like something that they should be really getting involved with. I'm sure that the college commissions or whatever, they'll get involved with that, do it just fine. So let's move on to the NFL a little bit here. We recap of week 14. The Chiefs win again on the last play via a field goal that hit the uprights and bounced in versus the Carolina Panthers, a team that's only won 3 games this year. So in doing so, they're officially the AFC West champions for the 9th year in a row, which is geez. But this style of winning in the last minute or so, or the last play of the game, the Chiefs have got to be very careful with this because it can either galvanize a team to win when it counts, or it can lead to the ultimate letdown when the playoffs begin. Your thoughts on the way this team is winning ball games right now? I thought the Carolina Panthers outplayed them for most of that game.
Eric, do you have that chart that I showed you in the Dungeons chat that we have?
Which chart? Maybe can find it.
Hold on 1 second.
You said a college thing.
I'm sorry to throw this on you.
I don't know what you're talking about. It'd be helpful if you could. Live television, brother.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It says we don't know sports. It's a thing. It says it just shows you how tight the NFL is. It's underneath the Ohio-Georgia thing on Thursday.
Hold on. What are your thoughts on this, Brandon? You still awake?
Yeah. Miranda's having an issue right now.
Oh, okay. I'll come back to you then.
But anyways, I was trying to make a point, Eric, that hold on 1 second.
I'll steady ready.
You know,
go ahead, Eric.
If Matt was a dog, he'd be a Chihuahua.
All over the place. I know, right? He's interesting to watch sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I see what you're. Okay, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, it's all right.
And if he was another type of animal, he would be a squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Exactly from that movie, no doubt about it. Yeah, you're right. I did see this. You're not wrong. He's not. Of course, he's not here to talk to me about it now.
Anyways, that's it.
You're right.
That's precisely it. Okay. Do you guys see the very bottom of this chart? Now,
yeah, the
this
Carolina
chart
Panthers would
right
still be
here,
that the Carolina Panthers. Yeah.
This chart is if every one possession NFL game had the opposite result. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, everybody notice where Kansas City is.
Yeah, almost in the middle of the pack. 2-10. They're probably the biggest jump, and they have to be. Yeah, they are.
They're the biggest jump. Now, also, I want everybody to take away the overtime games that Kansas City has won because of, I'm going to call it what it is, the BS overtime rule that they keep using over and over again. Kansas City doesn't look fantastic.
No, it's got a lot of people were thinking they were going to be one and done.
But I want to show. I want you guys to look at the four teams right around that number 7. Okay, and that's the playoff. The borderline, AFC playoff. Look, notice those four teams: Miami, New England, Houston, and Pittsburgh. Okay. Yeah. Those are all teams that have been around a coin flip or a different possession going the different way in a couple games.
Well, it's a good chart because it shows you how far they moved up and by how many games that would have flipped. So that's cool.
It shows me that this is a Pittsburgh thing that I'm bringing up. It shows me how good Pittsburgh's defense is.
Well, here's the thing, and I think
it really does.
I think too, like, it's weird. Damn, that Broncos one is crazy. But like, honestly, and I think Pat said it himself too. He's not been playing well this year. I don't know if something's wrong with him, like if he's like actually hurt and he's trying to play through it type shit. But
Pat tell you though, but yeah.
But he does not look like he did the last 2 years for sure.
Yeah.
And this whole season has been like this weird. They're playing teams close in games that they should just win outright. Like that Carolina Panthers game was like, you know what I'm saying? Like it came down to a field goal. That's how you won.
One that bounced off the upright and in.
Yeah, if it goes the other way, it's the same thing that happened in the was it the
teams are starting to game plan Patrick Mahomes.
Hell, I think they played the Broncos and won on a block.
Yeah, a block, and it was like you won. Like the Chiefs have not been, but their record says otherwise.
Yeah, they're winning. That's all that matters in this league.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just makes you think if they're 9 games, like they could just as easily be 2-10 right now.
Yeah,
that should scare every single Chiefs fan. It really should. And I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to throw shade or anything like that. I'm just saying, if your team is that close to being 12-1 or 2-10, the playoffs they're about always close games, and eventually this is going to come back to bite them in the ass. You would think.
Know which ones?
Now watch them win 3 in a row, Super Bowls.
You know which one sucks though? Like legitimate number 2. Because like
you're right.
That's man.
Joe Burrow's been putting the numbers out of his mind, and they're still losing games.
But if you look at the NFC, I mean, look at Chicago.
Oh, look at the Jets. Poor Aaron Rodgers.
Look at the Jets. Look at the Giants. I mean, look at where Minneapolis is.
Detroit's another interesting one who was, again, kind of not as bad as Kansas City, but again, winning close games. But their case, they're finding a way to win. That's not fluky.
Yeah, but that started like legitimately too. Like it was like once the injury started to, and I feel so bad for San Francisco, but like once the injuries started to roll in, damn, dude, because they were
teams at the bottom, Eric. Like those teams, the 4 teams at the bottom. Yeah. To my point is, those are all teams that are just scraping by with what defenses they have.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but that Rams one is kind of misinformation because like the Rams.
Minnesota should be that's a good
Dallas,
team.
South Carolina. Minnesota's played good this year, and it's not just
they've had their issues, but they're better than most.
Seattle's been playing good this year too.
Just goes to show you though, Indianapolis wouldn't be much better. So you know what I'm saying.
This shows me that chart right there shows me to Indianapolis fans that the problem isn't Anthony Richardson.
Not all of it. As we've discussed in the past,
he's a part of it, but
he's a part, but he ain't the whole problem like they tried to pin on him. Mike said, Aaron, good luck, good kick rookie in our. I think he meant good luck rookie in our fantasy playoffs. At least your team got off to a better start than mine did. Damn Cooper Kupp. We had 0 points on Thursday night, so sure Bob will be happy to see that. Slayer the Assassin said, "Let's go Cowboys." So hey,
you need to calm down.
Wow, we got a Cowboys friend that we work with too. So yeah, not very many of them
poor guy
that we know, but
poor feller.
Yeah, poor little feller.
I work with one too.
Should have done that. He would get more.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that. You didn't hear about that, Eric. Miranda, she hired a Cowboys fan. So
I mean, I have nothing against the Cowboys. I've told my buddy at work, I'm actually pulling for the Cowboys to win one just because they've taken so much crap for 30 years.
That's not about to happen.
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Not this year.
At the same time,
it's so sad because It's kind of the same feeling I have about my Yankees.
Your Yankees.
It's like no matter how hard Jerry tries, it's just not enough.
Who you talking about? Jerry Jones?
Yeah,
it's because
Jerry Jones is the fucking issue.
Yeah, he's the curse.
but he's like trying to do well.
No, he's
so
not.
much,
Because if he
but
was
he's
trying
not-
to do it, he would have done.
Brandon, but he's not doing it the right way. Is what
He's
I'm
not
trying to
doing
get
it
at.
Like the
No,
man is
no.
counterproductive to his own product. Okay, he treats his fucking facility like a fucking zoo and just lets people walk in. You know how out of pocket that is. First of all, like you got me big workout, and I'm people knocking on a fucking glass window, going, "Hey, look, it's CD." Fuck off. Like,
as a Colts fan, I sympathize. He's Jim Irsay on steroids. Okay,
brother, Jim Irsay. Well, he showed up to a practice in a hell. No, that was Jerry Jones showed up in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And commented on people's penises. That's crazy work.
All right, moving on.
Wow.
He's the Vince McMahon of fucking NFL.
Okay. I know this is off-related topic, and I'm going to spend very little time talking about this.
Yeah, we'll be here all night.
LeBron James.
Oh God!
Has stepped
We're
away
going to talk about
from-
LeBron here in a little bit. Hold that thought. I know where
Okay.
you're going. Hold your thought. Once we get to politics, we'll talk LeBron James.
Okay, is it politics?
He's
I'll wait.
responded to.
Huh?
I don't know if you've got that, but he's responded to somebody.
No,
and if
I
you
got
don't
it too.
have-
I got
good.
that. Well, it'll tie into his play as well, man. So don't worry. Mike said, "Sad truth. A lot of people that crap on the Cowboys for not winning it forever cheer teams that have less titles and have gone longer without winning one." So, yeah. So, good point. I mean, Cowboys at least say, "Hey, we've been there." You know, some of these other teams can't say that at all.
I don't want to
They
hear
just look really
first of all,
bad when they're losing.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. Because when you're the owner of your team stands in front of a goddamn microphone to sit there and say,
Man,
fuck off. Because it's your fault. You're part of the problem, but yet you won't admit it. You're willing to pass blame on everybody else except you. And then have the nerve to make backhanded ass comments as to why your team sucks, but yet you don't do anything to fucking fix it. And yet I'm supposed to believe
Kind of like
that
Joe
you're going to a
Biden's
fucking
America.
Super Bowl yet again. Fuck off.
Oh, you're talking about the cowboy friend at work? No, that friend is a guy. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell by your screen name, Slara the Assassin. I can't tell if you're male or female. Maybe by your icon, maybe you're female. He's single, but at the same time,
That would be great. Could you?
he's not really looking though. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, not trying to so anyway, moving on. I guess
I cannot wait till Monday.
They got hit on in the chat.
Ain't even president.
They might be watching. Sometimes he does too.
Ain't even present. He like, yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Mike said, I did shake my head on that punt F up. Which put the Colts?
One where
The McAfee one? Yeah, the one
No.
that's like the worst. To be fair, if you
The
listen to
Dallas
Pat Brady,
Cowboys won.
was it recent? I must have been.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll say, if you're talking about the Colts one, if you listen to Pat McAfee actually explain what happened against New England, he actually makes a good case to why they were doing what they did. They just were never supposed to snap it.
No, they were never supposed to snap that ball. That ball wasn't supposed to be snapped, and it was snapped because the guy who was in there literally just got put in there, had no idea what was supposed to happen.
He just
Yeah.
But even so, it was just supposed to throw the ball. But anyway, that's a whole other ball of wax.
So, yeah, whatever.
But anyway, as for getting back to some of the teams, Miranda's team, the Steelers beat the Browns. Got some revenge for that snow game a few weeks back, improving to 10-3. They will play a tough game this week versus the Philadelphia Eagles without George Pickens. He will not be in the lineup this week. So luckily for Miranda, she's on a bye in our fantasy football league.
Yes,
so
yes.
she has
I'm
Pickens.
so glad.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? You got a
And I had Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to have to root for my quarterback to go against my team.
Worked out well for you there, no doubt about it. So, yeah, at least you made the playoffs. I'm still.
Let's go.
3 out of the 5 of us here are bitter.
I don't want to hear about
And
none of
just
that.
in case Ty's watching, fuck
them Eagles.
Whatever them things are.
Fuck them birds.
The Indianapolis Colts will be traveling to Mile High and facing the Broncos this week. It's a make or break game for Indianapolis for sure. The
Let's
Broncos
go
have a 2-game lead on Indianapolis, and it's basically for the final wild card spot. If the Colts can somehow get a win, they still have to hope that the Denver Broncos get another loss in order to give them the one up over Denver. Because I believe they have, if they win this, they would also have the tiebreaker. So
give me a high.
So here's
Right.
hold on. Here's my thought on this, because I was talking about this tonight with 2 people at work who are Colts fans too. You know the 2 I'm talking about because they're across from you all day. Josh and Derek. So
yeah,
me and Derek were talking.
even though we rarely talk football, but anyway, yeah.
I talk football with them a lot.
Yeah. I could. Me
and Derek were saying, like, if this is by far the hardest one in this road that we got left, right, in this little slate that we got here, if we can somehow pull this off, there's no reason why we shouldn't win the next 2 or 3. So
yeah, Team Tennessee, Giants, and Jaguars. So yeah, we can win those games.
But this one right here, Bo Nix has been playing
this ain't
phenomenal ball here.
We just saw a chart that showed that the Denver Broncos could be the best team in the league and just a couple games went their way.
So I'm hoping. Listen, I can't sit on my couch again and yell at my TV. Okay,
I do it often.
I need this to work. Okay, for my sanity.
Why? I'm at this point. It's just like if you don't make it,
I know, but but dude, I tell you this every fucking season, every year we go through this. And I'm like, give me something to hang my hat on this year. That from the whole debacle.
Hope that Richardson finishes the year healthy and he shows improvement in the last month.
And
he has over the last 2 weeks.
Finish strong. That's what I want. Yeah, finish strong here.
And then that's something.
Because the only way you're going to erase that whole tap out situation that we went through, like you have a high note. You know what I mean? We have to go out on a high note here. If we don't make it in, fine. But damn it, I
doubt we will.
Show me that there's a potential we could. Make me, because like I cannot go into another year on hopes and wishes here. Like I can't keep doing this shit with this team, dude. Like this shit is killing me.
You're starting to sound like Tim with the Cowboys.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I guess I just never expected. I mean, I don't think you expected playoffs or anything either, but we are on the cusp of it, and we were in position last year until we choked it.
I don't care if we lose, but just damn it, make it a. Listen, nobody thought Russell Wilson was going to play the way Russell Wilson played. Russell Wilson has been playing teams that he should not be playing closely and beating a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Give me that hope. Even if we lose, give me a close fucking game.
Hey, you could just become a Steelers fan.
Stop talking to me.
You know what? You better take that bass out your voice. Your wife's going to lay a smack down on you.
Here's the thing. I didn't even look at the camera when I said it. I was looking over at the bed like, clear me.
Because you couldn't make eye contact when you said it. Yeah. You're going to jump through that screen right quick like a portal.
Like, fam, all right? Get it together around here.
Well,
you want to.
If I start cheering for anybody, it's gonna be Detroit simply because our colors are kind of the same, and I ain't gotta buy new shit.
Similar, yeah, I got you. See, Mike says Richardson can never tap out again, even if his leg completely falls off. Even if it gets decapitated, he can never tap out again, or he's done.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that. If it falls off, just lay there and hold your leg. There's no need to go.
Yeah, Miranda showed me a video. Some guy, was it the UFL? That shit like actually happened. His leg got snapped, and he goes to get up, and he sits back down, literally grabs his leg, and kind of puts it back in place. And I'm like, no shot, dude.
I didn't know who it was, but I can't.
That shit was gruesome.
So nothing major has changed in the playoff picture since last week, but there are some implications. Obviously, I think the Steelers have a chance to wrap up the division at some point here soon too. I can't remember what the scenarios were.
Insane.
But I think they are far enough ahead. Maybe a win this week, maybe get it done. I have to look into it. But so gotta get these wins down is when it counts.
If they beat the Eagles, you can shut it down. Like I'm pretty sure you can shut it down. And here's the thing: the Eagles their last couple games ain't been that glorious either.
You have to stop Saquon Barkley.
And you don't think that's but you don't think that's the defense that can't stop?
Oh, I'm sure they can definitely do it. But that's what I'm saying. That's the priority for every team that plays.
But
Philly.
on the flip side to that too, the Philly has a hell of a run defense as well.
Yeah, Philly's no slouch. It should be a good game.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going
I
to
hope we can watch it.
Where is it? I have the slate here.
Is
The
it
game is
Philadelphia.
it looks like it's in Philly if the team's on the right or the home teams.
Yeah.
So if that's the case. Yeah, it could be a little bit tough sledding in a 4:00 game too. So yeah, I mean, it might be on one of the national channels then if it's a 4:00 game because there's only.
It'll be on Red Zone and I'll be watching that then.
Yeah, it might be on. You might check though because
could you
imagine that is a marquee. I don't know. That Bills Lions game may take precedent though.
I know. Could you imagine if Cleveland pulls it out over Kansas City?
Oh.
If Cleveland beats Kansas City,
Cleveland's been scrappy though. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Myles Garrett has been running it up, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
and Jameson Winston, I guess
What's Cleveland's record right now?
Oh, I think it's like 3
and something.
It's not good.
Okay, so it wouldn't hurt Pittsburgh if they won.
No, definitely not.
No,
okay, good. Yeah,
Pittsburgh may have like a 3 or 4 game lead on everybody else.
Simply because and they beat. They beat Baltimore.
Oh, and it's in Cleveland. Oh, I think they won.
Think about it. Think about it this way: They were able to stop Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Steelers. I mean, in a snow, but still they did do it.
I'm talking about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was able to stop Derrick Henry.
Oh, I'm sorry, we jumped from the Browns to Pittsburgh. Anyway,
yeah. They stopped Derrick Henry. So, I mean, but again, that Cleveland, if Cleveland could man, you want to talk about an upset of a game? Yeah. If Cleveland beats Kansas City, then I tell you what, these sports analysts better have something to talk about because there's no way you can tell me any sports analyst gave Cleveland the win over Kansas City. But if Cleveland was to do it, there'd be a real conversation about how Kansas City's been playing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think there already is a conversation, but there'd definitely be it's serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Mike makes a good point, too. He said the Super Bowl out of this that he wants but probably won't get is the Texans versus the Lions, battle of the first-timers. While I don't disagree with that would be a good game, there's actually a game this week that might be the Super Bowl preview, and that's the Bills versus the Lions. While it wouldn't be a team or first-timers in the Super Bowl, it would definitely be a first-timers winning the Super Bowl on both sides. So there's that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be upset about that either. He says, what is Week 15's upset special? The Browns and Chiefs would be one.
Chiefs.
Even though, would you call it an upset based on how they're playing, but by record, you'd have to say it is.
Yeah.
I don't.
Let me see here.
Giants over the Ravens, maybe.
Bears over Minnesota. Minnesota. Why did I say it like
interesting
that?
Too. There's 2 Monday night games this week, which is something they don't normally do this late in the year. But
you want to talk about an upset? Yeah, you're right. Giants over Ravens. Shit.
Yeah, I'd be very upset.
If that's the case,
very upset.
If that's the case, I don't want to hear.
Aaron's a Ravens fan for
Be very upset for a C-lister type team beating the Ravens.
Seattle over Green Bay.
Yeah, but Seattle's in the playoffs. They're 7 and something. I mean, they're right there too with Green Bay. So
but I mean,
that's evenly matched.
Saints over. Well, no, yes, no. Derek Carr's been playing actually kind of good too.
At times.
But I guess Saints over Washington, which now there's a bunch of questions around, Daniels, but I think Jaden will be just fucking fine.
Hopefully we'll find out going into next year whether or not he's maybe had a little.
Quite honestly, from his play as of late, I would say an upset would be the Titans over Miami. Miami's kind of on a little heater right now, but the Texans ain't been playing. Yeah, Texans over Miami. Because the Texans ain't been playing that fucking well. And I know their record says otherwise, but honestly, if you've seen those games, I don't know what the hell's going on in Texas.
Mike said he'll definitely take the Bills and Lions in the Super Bowl as well. So I mean, obviously it's probably going to. I think most teams or most people want the Bills and Lions or something to that effect. Will probably.
I would prefer the Steelers and the Lions.
Yeah, that could be fun too.
That way, they can That way they can beat Brandon's second favorite team too.
Okay, all right.
We'll
The,
probably end up
the-
getting the Chiefs and the Eagles though somehow or another, which is
The Bills Lions game looks like a real good one, and I have to say probably the Chiefs and the Cleveland as be the two best games in that schedule I see.
Slayer the
wanna
Assassin said that the Panthers over the Cowboys would be an upset for. Which yeah, I mean I'm sure.
I get it. Yeah. I
But
understand.
just take solace in the fact they almost beat Kansas City too.
Yeah.
So take that. But
I will say this: we'll probably get in the Super Bowl. Honestly, will be the Chiefs and the Bills.
If it's the Chiefs again, I'm not.
No,
watching.
that's impossible. You can't. They're both.
Oh no,
AFC.
you can't. They're in the same thing.
Yeah.
It'll probably be
AFC title game, maybe. But
yeah, it'll be.
I don't know. Steelers. I'm not sleeping on the Steelers yet. I'm not going to do that.
I can't now. What did you say, Matt?
I think the Steelers, if they're going to make a run, it's going to be within the next couple games.
Mhm.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
It's not been on a run.
Well,
I mean,
you don't
outside
have
of
to
that Browns
put
game.
it
They've been on a run
Man.
as of late.
I mean,
Dude.
it's
You
not
know
like
what?
they've been
Just
sucking.
because you got your ass kicked by Michigan and somebody pissed in your
All
Cheerios,
right.
you don't have to
Okay.
take it out on me.
All right.
Did you see my fantasy comment, by the way? You
Yeah,
said something
fuck off.
You know,
You
it was,
can
it was
eat it back,
unnecessary. And I said, what? Well, if you just win every once in a while, Ohio State, you know?
Ah! I'm swinging on you,
I was
man. I'm
proud of that
swinging
one.
on you.
Just keep it above the waist. Trust me.
It's gonna be a
I
situation.
can't take another blow to the
No, I'm
knee.
taking your knee out. I'm gonna
No,
chop
no,
block this
no,
shit out
none
of
of
you.
that. That's already in bad shit. None of that crap.
Man,
All
you
right.
gonna get that Tanya Harding treatment.
Oh, man. That's messed up. That is totally messed up. But anyway. All right. Well, let's move on.
Hey, I'm
to-
also having knee problems today.
Are you really? You okay, buddy?
Yeah,
Any tips?
I don't know.
Probably
I'm
an
having a
expert
hard
right
time
now.
walking.
Why do I feel like
Yeah,
this?
no, buddy.
I'm honestly not trolling. My right knee is in a
Well,
lot of pain for whatever reason.
You weren't here yet, but we talked about something that's been helping Brandon and my pain. So
Not drugs. Calm down.
no.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, if it's just, working on that concrete.
Moving around on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking around all day is not good for your ligaments, that's for sure, or your joints or whatever it might be.
Oh,
Slara also said that they'd be okay with the Steelers Chiefs Super Bowl. So,
Steelers.
well, again, that's impossible though.
would
The
kinda
Steelers
slap.
and Chiefs are both in the AFC. So that AFC title game, absolutely, but it can't happen in the Super Bowl, unfortunately. So, but either way,
Title
good
game.
game.
I mean, do you think, honestly, do you think that we could get that AFC Championship game?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be right now in Kansas City, which would suck. But
I don't know. And I don't think it matters for Steelers fans. Like we talked about.
yeah,
this
it's
before.
true. That's true.
Steelers, Eagles, and Bills fans, hell, even Cincinnati Bengals fans, they travel well, especially Steelers fans. Like, so like, could you imagine all that black and yellow in a sea of red and yellow?
Black and yellow, red. It's a whole different thing. All right, well, let's move on to the last part of the show, which I'm sure will mean Mike's departure. We'll see if Slara sticks around. I'm not sure. She or he. I'm having a hard time. Yes, I'm guessing she. I'm going to stick with she until you tell me otherwise. But anyway, we'll see if they stick around. Let's put it that way. Try not to misgender, okay? Try to be fair. But anyway, let's go to the politics section where I'll get myself in more trouble. All right, thank you very, very much. Okay.
Nailed it.
My apologies. Thank you for being patient with me, for sure. All right, so let's get into some of the politics stuff here tonight. We got a few things going on in that world. But before we get started, I thought it would be fun to just kind of remember how I used to say we'd probably say some more happy things about Donald Trump that sometimes the media don't report. This was just kind of fun, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. This is a story that kind of, about him putting up a flag in Florida. Before he was president, Donald Trump bought an estate in West Palm Beach, Florida. He put up a 50-foot flagpole and flew a U.S. flag on it. The city council told him that he could have a 30-foot pole, but he refused to take it down, being it was already 50 feet. They told him they would fine him $1,000 a day until he took it down. Trump said, fine, that's chump change, no problem. But the fine reached $120,000. When it reached that point, he went to the city council and made a deal. he would lower the flag to a 30-foot pole if he could donate the $120,000 and write it off to help veterans to the Veterans Affairs, to which they agreed. He then took the 50-foot pole down and had a landscape company come in and build a 20-foot hill where the pole was and put up a 30-foot pole. So that's why we love him right there. So that's called problem solving, if you ask me. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Just kind of made me laugh. So something to kind of
hilarious.
Yeah, start the politics part. And as on cue, Mike said, time for me to hit the sack. Good luck to those in the playoffs.
Later, Mike.
And may everyone have a Merry Christmas. Let's remember the real reason for the season. Absolutely. And see you here in 2 weeks, buddy. Hope you come back. I'm assuming your viewership because you've been such a loyal viewer. I gotta, be here for the one fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one fan.
The one fan. Hey, right now we've got 43 people watching. Hopefully you guys will stick around for this segment. I understand politics isn't for everybody, but as long as you're cordial, we can have a good conversation. But as soon as you start to become hostile, you're blocked and you're out of here. That's all I can say about that. If you're not on our side, that's perfectly fine. But all I ask is that you be civil. Slaughter on the Assassin said, getting around the law like most businessmen do. Absolutely. And that, he flat out admitted that in the debate. Even he's like, Hillary Clinton tried to attack him on the whole, loopholes in the text. He's like, yeah, I use them. You do too. And change them if you don't like it. So that's why people like that honesty.
Bitch about the rules, but yet you use the rules too. So
exactly. This week,
fairness, there are some laws that are unnecessary.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like, give me a reason why a 50-foot pole is not okay, but a 30-foot pole is.
I don't know, something about regulations, but yeah.
Yeah, but what's the regulation for? Are they worried that maybe seagulls are going to actually run into the pole?
I mean, they don't have a problem doing it with windmills.
Probably.
It's like all the regulations they put Elon through to launch a rocket. It's ridiculous.
They're just trying to stifle him.
They had him do research on how this would affect whales, and they just threw the different creatures in the sea just to stop the launches. And it's like, that's such a waste of resources and time.
Exactly.
Why don't they just let the man do what he wants to do?
Because nobody wants to have fun anymore.
I mean,
I'm just saying, give me a rule with an explanation. Like, sorry, this is kind of going back into work, but like, they are putting restrictions and stuff at work, and it's like, give me a reason why this is so important to you that we have to do this.
Well,
Aaron, I feel like this is affecting you in other parts of your life.
Yeah. Give me a reason why my grass being 2 inches taller than yours is a problem. Is that a size thing? Does it make you feel emasculated or something?
Let me tell you something. Aaron was on a roll today.
I'm just saying. Tell me why.
He had an update here.
Yo, this grass thing with him is for real.
Aaron I just looked at
it's like city regulation or whatever. You got to keep it at a certain length, don't you, or something to that effect?
No, that's not what he's bitching about.
No, he's just talking about his neighbor.
I don't live in an HOA.
Yeah.
Well, I always felt like if you lived in town, though, like you have to keep the grass cut and mowed. I don't know if it had to be like a certain.
Somebody lied to you.
I don't know people who said that they have to cut their grass because the city will get on to them if you let it.
I have never had a situation where somebody from the city came and complained about me.
No, I've never owned a home.
No, Eric's right. There are some.
Yeah.
Really?
Cities that will. Yeah.
I've heard with that situation.
Yeah.
Remember those regulations we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Hell, they've dug up people's gardens.
Yeah.
That's a little excessive, but anyway, that's a whole other ball of wax. This week, the FBI director, Christopher Wray, has officially resigned. It was either this or Donald Trump was going to fire him within 30 seconds of taking office anyway. But Kash Patel is lined up to replace former director Wray should Patel get confirmed. Now, of course, Christopher Wray resigned exactly 1 day before the Department of Justice and the Inspector General confirmed that Christopher Wray, his led FBI, had at least 26 confidential human sources or federal agents in or around the Capitol riot on January 6th, including 4 agents who entered the Capitol building and 13 who entered the restricted area around the Capitol. So obviously he's, in a long list of people who work for the Biden administration who's in line for a pardon right now.
Okay, before you go too far, do you know that they said it takes 6 months to get FBI informants through the system? So they had to have pre-planned January 6th.
I don't doubt that a bit. Did not know that, but yeah, I mean, it all lines up because, I mean, all this despite Christopher Wray denying that was the case for so long, that they had any federal agents in the area, any undercover, anything like that. Not to mention, none of the information came out until a month after the election. So convenient timing, if you ask me. This is why Kash Patel needs to go clean house at the FBI. But that pretty much makes it official. The Fedsurrection happened. These federal agents were planted to incite violence, to frame Donald Trump and go after Trump supporters. None of them have been prosecuted to date, the federal agents. And at least one of them, I guarantee you, was this man, Ray Epps, who we've talked about before, but we're going to bring it up again because, again, it's now relevant. Ray Epps is still a free man along with the rest of the agents, but Trump supporters are locked up in a gulag.
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No! Peacefully. Fed.
Here's some background noise.
Fed. Tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested. Well, let's not say it. We need to go. I'll say it. All right. We need to go in.
Shut the fuck up, Boomer.
To the Capitol. These Fed posting?
It's comments on the video.
We need to go into the Capitol. I didn't see that
He
coming.
said,
Okay.
shut the fuck up, Boomer. That's wild.
Where our problems are. It's that direction.
Everybody wants to say Donald Trump sent people to the Capitol. This guy is literally directing them where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now look.
When we go in,
are we going to get arrested if we go up there?
You don't need to get
You
shot.
arrest us all?
Now, right before the first breach, he whispers into some kid's ear, and then they rush. I mean, this is the type of stuff that Trump supporters and people on the right look at and say, this was a setup.
Yep.
And the news won't show you this anywhere. So that was all of that video. But so yeah, and here's another one that I found. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little small, but it has a good explanation. I thought you might want to listen to it, of another Fed potentially breaking out a window.
Do not go in there.
He got mad because he wouldn't go in there?
The video journalist from Michigan was shooting video that day at the Capitol. What he captured were two, most charitably called suspicious actors, but they are dressed in such a way that led him to believe that they were government agents. And one of them, after the windows had been broken by a protester, it was encouraging people to pull the rest of the glass out and go inside. Bobby Powell, who was the journalist that had shot it, and he has his camera rolling, he told him that would be illegal and that wouldn't be a good idea. He warned people off not to go into that window. And then he turned his camera around and he caught this agent or suspicious actor pulling a large pane of glass out, this tempered glass. It kind of folds into itself, crunch onto the ground. When he realized he was being filmed, he quickly dropped it. It seems apparent on the video that he did not want to be seen doing what he just did. So he pulled in a protester and started blaming him. He said, "What are you doing breaking that window?" The poor fellow that was being accused didn't know what was going on. And then he gave him a couple of really good shoves and cocked his arm like he was going to punch him. We don't know. His facial image is not on any of the Sedition Hunters sites or the FBI's most wanted site, but he clearly was committing criminal damage to property, and he has not been charged. So it raises a question of why.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, at some point you can't call us conspiracy theorists anymore. I now identify as an "I told you so."
I like that.
I mean,
I like that.
I mean, Slayer the Assassin said maybe the agents were on site, I think is what she means, there before as a security measure. Yeah, I can see that maybe, like Miranda said, it takes 6 months, but it's also pretty likely cover story as well. You know what I'm saying? So, and they also, even if they could say that, but then go, if they were tearing down windows and telling people where to go, what to do, having cops open up. secure doors that take, just letting them walk in. Video of that out there too. This just isn't on the up and up. It never has been, and it never will be. And now we've got, obviously, the DOJ and the Inspector General saying and confirming what the FBI director has saying has never happened, or we never had agents in the area. Now they're saying there were. So it's like, again, this is something that a year ago you would have been banned off X or YouTube for whatever even mentioning, saying it was a lie. It was a conspiracy theory. Well, not now. It's pretty much been proven. You can buy. Yeah, go ahead.
Surely there had to have been cameras everywhere on there, to see every inch of that building. There's no way that there isn't.
Yeah, we've got lots of footage. There's probably thousands of hours that they probably still.
There's tens of thousands of hours.
But the ones that did get out, I think Tucker Carlson went over, clearly shows there were a lot of Trump supporters who did not get agitated or violent until they were being shot at and tear gassed and things like that. So when that starts happening, you're going to escalate things, which I believe was the intent. Capitol Police were behind that as well. So that's all out there to be found. It's just some people don't do the digging on it, but we've covered it here on the channel before. So you combine all this with the fact that Nancy Pelosi knew and declined 10,000 soldiers and the unselect January 6th committee destroying all evidence that exonerated Trump. January 6th was clearly a setup. No more debate about it at this point, in my opinion. So if you don't like it, that's my opinion. You can just think about what you want. But Trump took some flack for saying on Meet the Press this week that the January 6th committee should be jailed. But he's right. Where's the lie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just listen to him in his own words in an interview with Kristen Welker. I believe I got this at the right spot. Yeah.
Let me ask you this about
Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around their neck. I was then rebuffed, and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total. And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly. Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole 1.5 years worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it. And so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
Now listen, she's going to try to rebuff him. Sir, that's a conspiracy theory that listen to what he says. That someone testified and said that they did that.
For what they did.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think?
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
Not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden can give him a pardon if he wants to, and maybe he should. Just remember. Unselect committee, 1.5 years of sworn testimony. And after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it, and they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they deny
If you do that in a civil case, you go to jail.
They deny doing that. And officials say that the order never came in for the National Guard.
But
on January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you're going to want to
Thompson
answer
wrote
this.
in a statement that he has
talk.
So did you hear what he said there? Even though they're claiming they did it, well, there's testimony that says it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Disregard that. It doesn't. Oh, you're just talking crazy talk, Donald. This is the conspiracy theory stuff that the left wing claims that he always tells lies about.
Totally people also said that people who believed in aliens were conspiracy theorists. But then
look where we are now.
Our own current president confirmed aliens exist.
At some point, the conspiracy theorists are way ahead of the curve when it comes to the news. It's just they don't want to admit it yet. We're gonna probably get into some of that, probably a little more before the end of the show is out. But my favorite contradictory thing about this that that the left also loves to pull. Trump can't walk down a ramp. Trump can't drink out of a water bottle, but he can sure go all John Wick on Secret Service in the car on the way to January 6th. So which is it? You know, make up your mind.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, they should all go to jail. Everything that these people on the screen right now told you about that day was a lie. All these people belong in prison. Add Cassidy Hutchinson to that list too for lying about the John Wick thing too, where he supposedly jumped in the beast and tried to attack Secret Service members for the control of the car.
I remember that when that story was said. And I
with
was
her
like,
crocodile tears.
What are you talking?
Wait, what's the story?
Okay, so this woman, Cassidy Hutchinson, testified in front of the January 6th committee and stated that, but first of all, she heard it from an agent who heard it from another agent, one of those deals, right? She never saw this or nothing. Couldn't, I don't think she even placed a name on the agent who supposedly saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But then she said that Donald Trump, after the January 6th riot started, he was in the beast, the presidential car. And the Secret Service agent says, we need to go back to the White House to be safe. We can't go to the Capitol. And they claim that Donald Trump wanted to go to the Capitol to be with his supporters. And Trump supposedly was so angry, he tried to fight off 2 Secret Service members, one of them who was driving the car. Again, this is the same man that they claim could not walk down a ramp without almost falling on his ass and couldn't drink out of a water bottle. But he could go Chuck Norris on these guys at 70-some years old. Secret Service men. Trained killers. Okay.
Really? Because they've done a really sorry ass job of protecting Donald Trump.
Well, a lot of that's due to other issues, but no, it's like and people believed this lie, this lie. And the way they got around it was, well, January 6th committee hearings were not technically a formal court or anything like that. So basically what that meant was they could lie with impunity and not get.
But you damn sure treated it like it was.
Yeah, they put.
And I don't get that shit either.
Yeah,
like you are representing people of the United States. Why is it okay for you to lie?
Yeah,
I don't.
And then you destroy the evidence, is what Trump is claiming.
Yeah,
and we have testimony that says it happened. And if you didn't destroy it, where is it?
Yeah,
just like the border wall supplies. How is it okay for them to sell it?
Yeah, we're going to do that in a minute too. That's for sure. But yeah, let's pick up from the video I just showed you about him explaining all of that, and let's listen to him basically torch Kristen Welker about how she's biased, and because basically during this entire interview, you can hear it there where he kept trying to say wait, because she kept trying to interrupt him and fact check him. Listen to what he has to say about her bias reporting.
If you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of DC, so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
Let me ask.
The press was obviously unfair to me. The press, no president has ever gotten treated by the press like I was. And yet I got more votes than any Republican candidate in history. By far, it's not even close. So you say, what's that all about? The press has to straighten itself out because honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes, none. Yeah. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden, And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
when I say you, I'm talking metaphorically.
Okay.
I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden. And he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why.
Well, and if you watch any of the interviews that they do with Biden or Kamala Harris or anything like that, they're never constantly jumping in and trying to interrupt and go, but sir, that's not actually what happened. They didn't say that, or no, that's not true. They don't do that stuff with Democrats. They only do it with Donald Trump and Republicans. Plain and simple. And they'll do it to the next Republican candidate too. It's not just Trump. So for those of you out there thinking they're just fact-checking Trump because he lies all the time, no, they've done it to all of them. It's not just him. But Fedsurrection, lying media, sham trials, phony indictments, fake convictions, kangaroo courts, and apparently assassin's bullets. What did it accomplish, leftists? Just goes to show that when it's God's time, when it's not God's timing, nothing can force it. But when it is God's timing and calling, nothing will stop it. Trump came back from everything you threw at him, and he won the election in a landslide, and he won the popular vote, giving him a mandate from the American people that you all are trying to obstruct. So here he is on the cover of Times Magazine as Person of the Year, which he's been on the cover of Times Magazine many times before. And that's cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know how much credibility the Times Magazine has at this point anymore, but it is a big deal to get on the cover, no doubt. He's been on the cover, I think, somewhere up like 20 some times in his life. So that's crazy to think about in general. But
really, because again, he was a very popular person. People actually liked him before he ran for president. And again, his policies didn't change then. His views didn't change then either when you liked him. So what changed?
Yeah, he's no longer on your side, I guess. That's basically all it is, which is weird because, like you said, his policies haven't changed. So who's changed then? Not him. It's not him. It's the left. They've gone too far left. People like Bill Maher even talks about that. Even he's smart enough to, admit that. So, I mean, come on. But this is how the media will cover the Times Magazine. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were named Times Person of the Year, that's what they reported it as. But when Donald Trump is on the Times cover, they say Donald Trump joins exclusive club enjoyed by Hitler, Stalin, Khrushchev, and Khomeini. I don't even know who those two people are.
But you did it. So what are you talking about? Like, if he got Times of the Year, Times Magazine is the ones who rolls these out, right? It's their little award. So if you gave it to these people, then what are we talking about? You did it.
Yeah. So, I don't know why. This is just what they do. They try to smear, even though there's nothing behind it. It's how the media reports him being on the cover. See the difference, though, between a Democrat compared to a Republican. This is why Democrats lost the election. So keep it up. You'll keep losing. Keep doing it. That's all I can say. Last week, moving on a little bit here. I don't know why I'm getting these. Oh, it's because it's my birthday. It's officially 12:09. So I'm getting these little balloons. Hey, thanks a lot.
Birthday!
Happy
birthday!
Even older now. Yeah.
How old are you again?
43.
You still got me. I don't care.
It only says it underneath his name.
I don't pay attention. Come on now. Let's be honest.
Maybe you should just look at
small details, man. I know when you're not paying attention to me.
Why would I do any of that? First of all, he didn't even wish me a happy birthday. Like,
I did. I was a day late because I wasn't. I didn't see him and I forgot to.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and to be fair, Facebook doesn't remind you all the time anymore. I don't see it till days later on some cases.
I don't get on Facebook anyway, so I wouldn't have known you said it.
Exactly. So there you go. My bad. I apologize. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, my birthday's all right.
But we keep saying to his birthday party, Eric. Why were you waiting for the Facebook?
First of all, hold on, time out. He didn't come to my birthday party. He came to my son's birthday party. He didn't come to my birthday party. That wasn't a party for me. I don't have birthday parties no more. Who cares about me?
That's right. You're irrelevant.
Yeah. He said it himself. I'm irrelevant.
Wow, that's messed up.
You didn't hear about that?
Very much. No, you didn't tell me that.
So I was outside. I was like, "Do you want something to eat?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "You gonna come in and get it? Because I'm not bringing it to you." He was like, "I'm the birthday boy." I said, "So am I." He goes, "Yeah, but you're irrelevant."
Oh man,
hurt my soul, big dog.
Poor Brandon. Should I ask how old you are now?
41.
Oh, okay. I can't remember if you're in your 40s.
Still look good.
Yeah. Okay. Just give it a couple more years. Your check engine light's going to start coming on, so be careful. That's for sure. Last week, we discussed how Representative Nancy Mace has been taking a stand against men and women's bathrooms at the Capitol. This week, she was assaulted by she was assaulted at the Capitol by a pro-trans man, and the news barely covered it. Imagine if AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, was attacked by a MAGA supporter at the Capitol. The left always resort to violence when they don't get their way, not the other way around. But because this was a leftist attacking someone on the right, no one cared. Apparently, this guy was like 3 times her size and basically drug her down and hurt her arm. And I believe part of her hand, if I'm not mistaken. So here she is like a trooper, arm on a sling, doubling down and holding the line, as she put it. By the way, fun fact, after this, more U.S. representatives have now been injured at the Capitol by attacks from violent LGBTQ activists than from people on January 6th. So, you know.
It's the monster you create, man.
Exactly. Also this week, former Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who is 82 years old, fell again this week. It's not the first time he fell. There's another video going around of him doing so. Supposedly, these are actual photos of him after the fall this week. If that's the case, again, what are we doing here? 82 years old. There should be a term limit, if you ask me, for everybody in Congress, Senate, and House. There is one for the president. Why can't we have it for everybody else here?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do you want to work that long? At like some point, bro, you got to get out and enjoy life.
He may not want to, but his handlers do. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't get that part, bro. Like, you got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him, big dog. And like, I just feel like at some point you just enjoy life, man. Like, why are you still here?
Especially when you ain't got a lot of it left.
For real.
Get out and do something besides being wheeled around all day.
Yeah.
Which apparently he fell, injuring his face, obviously, during a GOP luncheon and was treated by EMTs on Capitol Hill. The first screenshot that we actually got of this event was of EMTs possibly going into his office that surfaced on X. This comes after he notably froze twice recently on live television giving speeches and answering questions from the press. So this was, a long-standing issue with Mitch McConnell here. And this is Republican, so I'm going to call out Republicans when they're doing stupid crap too. So, and I've never been a big fan of Mitch McConnell in the first place, but apparently, like Dianne Feinstein before she passed away, I think she was in her 90s and still serving. He's now being wheeled around in a wheelchair and basically signing what he's told to sign at this point by his handlers. She was doing the same thing in her last days. She was being wheeled in front of a piece of paper. Yay or nay? Say yay or nay. Louder. They can't hear you. Say yay. Or, it's like these people are not even acting on their own accord anymore. They're only there to help those in power. It's sad.
Yeah, that shit is sad, bro. Like, damn.
Definitely sad. And on top of that, just today, on the other side of the aisle, Nancy Pelosi, who is herself 84 years old and has apparently been reelected for 2 more years, will be serving until at least 86, and says she wants to run after that, was hospitalized in Luxembourg after suffering an injury while traveling overseas for an event to honor veterans on the anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. Details are scarce at this time, but I heard one report state she may have fell down some stairs, possibly the one she's standing next to in this photograph, and literally broke her hip. This is supposedly a picture before the fall. She's clearly already having trouble holding herself up even here. She's holding her thigh, and she's holding another guy's hand, trying to hold herself up for this photograph. So again, I can't stress this enough. Congress is not supposed to be a nursing home. And if Donald Trump were to have the same issues, I'd say he probably needs to go too. But he's not.
Yeah.
Contrary to what the press wants to tell you.
I was about to say contrary to what y'all want, but
contrary to what they want you to believe. He's more cognitively there than Joe Biden has been, and probably since he was vice president. For sure. So yeah, on top of all that, speaking of Joe Biden, he granted clemency to Manny and a Chinese national after he was only sentenced to 97 months in prison with 47,000 child porn images. First of all, for that offense alone, 97 months is a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, first of all,
if you ask me. But let's listen to Harry Sisson try to talk about this, and of course, one of our favorites on the channel, the older millennial, react to this whole clemency thing.
President Biden just pardoned 39 people and commuted roughly 1,500 sentences in the largest single-day act of clemency in American history.
Yeah, Harry, one of the people he just granted clemency to was a man named Shanlin Jin. Mr. Shanlin Jin was arrested in January of 2021 for being in possession of more than 47,000 images of child porn. At Jin's trial, an FBI agent testified that Jin was connected to some very high-level members of the Chinese Communist Party. Now, not only did they discover that his IP address was used in sharing child porn through a peer-to-peer network, but they also found videos on his home computer depicting the essay of an infant by a grown man. And then when they actually executed the search warrant on his house, they found even more videos of infants and toddlers being raped by grown men.
Dude.
And Joe Biden just gave this guy clemency. This guy is being released from prison early because of Joe Biden. Yeah, Harry, I would just ask that you somehow justify that. Because if you're going to celebrate him giving clemency, I want to know why. And I specifically want to know why Shanlin Jin was included in this in any way.
President.
Yeah, exactly. So those of you on the left, you still think Joe Biden has the moral high ground? If you do, you need to take a long look in the mirror and figure out where you are.
That's wild.
That 97 months was the prison sentence for that guy. That's insane to me too. I mean, it should be far longer.
Yeah, that much, and then all that shit. Yeah, like, yeah.
I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. Whoopi Goldberg.
The fact that that guy survived prison so far, I don't see him surviving real life after he gets out.
Crazy.
I wouldn't think so. By the way, the reason why Matt's no longer here, apparently his cat attacked the Christmas tree. So that's where he is.
As a cat.
Welcome, Tony, a cat.
Yeah, welcome to cat. Yeah. Whoopi Goldberg on The View this week thinks that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to fix the food, who is trying to fix the food epidemic, and recommending losing weight via diet and exercise instead of running to some sort of weight loss pill is a form of fat shaming. You heard that right.
He is so dumb.
I'm dumb.
Fucking stupid.
I'm dumb.
Whoopi thinks trying to make our food healthier and not relying on big pharma is discrimination against fat people.
You know, this isn't just about food.
No, it's not.
This is sometimes people are born genetically larger.
Agreed. I didn't mean to.
No, I know you didn't.
Yeah.
But I want to say this to
RFK.
That's his name. Because you're setting folks up for shame.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying. Maybe you don't know you're doing. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say you don't know, you don't realize what you do to people when you say stuff like that, because it doesn't work for everybody. And I'm going to show you, sir, because I weighed close to 300 less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And without the Mounjaro, this would not have happened.
There you go. Take it off. Take it off.
There you go. And I try to tell everybody, listen, this worked for me. This may work for y'all. You cannot take it out of people's hands if it can help. Because if we can keep people healthy, if we can get rid of diabetes, if we can get rid of all of the things cardiovascular, what's wrong with trying to do that?
Nothing.
You're wrong on this, R.
Also, the side effects are not
What's wrong with taking the shit out of the food to make it healthy to not need the drugs?
I think what she's referring to in particular is the using like a weight loss pill instead of doing things naturally, like diet and exercise and stuff.
Is that what he's trying to do?
No, he's trying to. Beef tallow.
Yeah.
Beef tallow is so healthy for you. When they fed it to rats and then tried to give them alcohol poisoning, they couldn't do it. Okay, it kept them healthy.
McDonald's used to use beef tallow when a long time ago. When they fried their French fries and shit. That's what they were fried in, was beef tallow. But
all
because
these seed oils, that's probably what's causing your inflammation.
Yeah, that's probably part of
All
it.
the chemicals in the food, it is horrible. The dyes, it's not just cereals, it's everything that has color has a
Mhm.
dye in it. It's responsible for depression, anxiety, mood swing. Kids are put on ADHD medicine because they're poisoned from breakfast till dinner from the food.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're doing it on purpose. It's because it's there. It's what the FDA has allowed to be put in our food.
And to answer your question, Aaron, I don't think RF Kennedy Jr. is trying to take away that option of like a weight loss pill or something like that. He's just trying to say that that shouldn't be the first thing you run to. You know, try to do it diet, exercise, the right way, the natural way, the healthier way to go about doing it. Because we don't know a lot of the side effects for like Ozempic and things like that. There's no
We do.
long-term. Well, we know short-term, not long-term. It's not been out
Yeah,
long-term.
you're right about long term. No, you're correct.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
about
I
that.
didn't finish my thought, but yeah, you're right. So, yeah, so, well, thank you, Slara, for being on the show. I appreciate you being out this long. Your phone's about to die. I appreciate it. But
You have a good
but
weekend too, Slara.
yeah, you too, absolutely. And Merry Christmas. We won't be back for a few weeks. But
Yes.
yeah, so, but coming from someone who herself was not born genetically large, as she put it, Whoopi Goldberg is not a natural big person. This is her in the 1980s and early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for her to use that argument, like, well, some people just can't lose weight. A lot of people who say that, I'm not saying there may not be some circumstances where that may be true, but a lot of people who say that, quite frankly, just don't have the willpower or don't put enough effort into it and don't take responsibility.
Maybe the reason why they're genetically predisposed to be fat is because of what we're eating.
Yeah, that's what
Has
our
anyone
argument started
ever
changing.
thought of that?
Yeah.
RFK
Like,
did. And she just said it was fat shaming.
You described Whoopi as, you know, being skinny, and you know, when I remember when she was younger in some of the older movies, she was always skinny.
Yeah.
It wasn't until recently, or I don't know how recently, but like, you know, she became fat. It's like because food just got really bad. There's literal sugar in everything. You wonder why diabetes is on the rise? Is because sugar's in everything.
Yeah, stuff it shouldn't be in. You know, things like that. You know.
Yeah, it's like
there's shit in food that shouldn't be in fucking food. Period. Like I said, I watch a lot of these food travel channels and shit, and I'm telling you, in other countries, there is shit that is literally banned that you'll find in our food everywhere. You know why it's banned in these places? Because it's deemed unhealthy and poison.
Hey!
Somebody's in trouble.
Somebody got in trouble.
But he'll come back in a second. But yeah, you're right. And not only that, look, and like Aaron said, when she was younger, yes, she was skinnier. And as you age, you do gain weight. People do tend to get, because it's harder on your joints and stuff to work out as often. It does happen. And you sometimes, just in my case, sometimes I just get lazy. Admittedly so. But I'm also, oh, go ahead.
It's probably her damn hormones.
That's also part of it.
Something's changed in her, and that could be the food too. Like
Trump must
there's
really got
so
under her
much
skin.
stuff that could be
Depression eating.
causing her to be fat.
That's
It's there's a lot of things. Like, okay, I'll use myself as an example here. I have, you know, struggled with losing weight, but I know I can do it because I did it.
Yeah, me too.
It's amazing how better you feel when you do it.
Yeah.
And I've tried the pills thing. I've tried other things, but like literally a diet on foods that are not processed, foods that you cook so you know what's going in it. Like there's a lot of things you can do to live a healthier lifestyle and without really changing all of your fucking life to do so. Again, I felt amazing just with 30 fucking pounds. I felt amazing.
Oh, believe me.
And I wasn't always big either, you know, but
I was. But here's the thing.
Other things, you know, when I was a kid, I ballooned in high school.
Yeah. I mean, I ballooned elementary school, was big all the way through high school. And when I got to college, I had some blood pressure issues, and I lost 100 pounds. Now I've gained, I don't know, 40 some of it back. I would like to get those off, but even those 30, 40 pounds, and I'm obviously having knee issues at times. Like Brenda said, you can tell a big difference. But luckily, I never did the pill thing or surgeries or whatever it might be. I did it the diet and exercise way. Now I'm 20 years older than I was when I did it, so it is going to be harder for me now to do it again. But like Brenda said, I know I have the capability to do it. And believe me, I am one of the few people probably in the world who has lost weight like that. Know how disciplined you have to be, how meticulous you have to be.
Yep.
The willpower has to be. You cannot, outside of maybe like once a week, cheat and expect to see results. And you have to do it day in. It took me a year to lose 100 pounds. So it's
not an easy road, but
which is why people run to the pill and things like that. I get it. I fully get it. But now if you try to get people to see the best results come naturally or tell them the truth about their weight, you're fat shaming somebody though. And that's what Whoopi's basically saying here. You know, by trying to do things the right way, RFK is just basically saying you're fat shaming. That's not what he's trying to say. Fat people try to sue doctors nowadays for fat shaming people because their doctors are honest with them about their weight and being unhealthy, and the patients don't like it. I mean, that's crazy. RFK Jr. is simply trying to make it easier by making our food less addictive and healthier. If Whoopi Goldberg took half the passion of her constant uninformed criticisms and redirected that energy towards diet and exercise, her health and weight would naturally improve. She wouldn't need McGirt or whatever she said it was. So simple as that. But anyway, never, it never fails to get a little bit of idiocy from The View, no doubt about it. Let's see here. Yeah, The View is just grasping at straws so they can blame Trump's administration for something. Blah, blah, blah.
This might be like a generalization, but I think it's easier to lose weight when you've got money to buy the healthy foods that are not processed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, they price all the salad stuff and all this stuff higher, but you could go get yourself a Big Mac or something for less than $1 or something. You know what I mean? Maybe not now, but
that's what and the convenience. People,
the convenience.
When people eat out and shit and spend money on fast food, it's because it's convenient. It's because it's there. It's on the way home. It's a long day at work. I'm tired. I don't feel like cooking. Boom. But you
I
get
had
sucked
Brandon
into
listen to a video earlier about a class action lawsuit that is against Kraft. They advertise that they have all natural, no artificial ingredients, right? That is not true. The citric acid and what was it? 2 other ingredients?
2 other ingredients, yeah.
They're not natural. They are sourced from mold, which causes inflammation and all sorts of other side effects when you consume it. So there's a class action lawsuit against them for this. Other companies use the same thing. So how much of your food is causing your pain? Just thinking about it.
That's why I keep telling myself I need to eat healthier and hit the gym, because I've listened to Dana White talk about this stuff too. He's like, he went to see doctors about blood pressure, cholesterol, all this sort of stuff. But when he started to eat better and exercise, everything else cleared up.
Yeah. It's like the carnivore diet right now. That is the big thing. It was keto and now it's just fucking meat. And it goes back to the organ pills. If you can afford to buy a cow and eat a cow, or eat a piece of that cow every day, great. You wouldn't need the supplements. But the supplements are so convenient at this point. It's amazing what the carnivore diet is doing for people.
Yeah.
But that's
I follow a girl. Her husband has completely gotten rid of all his MS symptoms in a year with a carnivore diet.
Nice.
I follow a thing on a group on Reddit, and it's all carnivore diet shit, and like some of the stories that people tell in there. And like I said, I benefited from it. I know full well what it can do. Like again, you guys saw me. You guys see me at one of my heaviest times, and so like when I dropped all that weight, that was strictly because that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it has to constantly be your focus.
It has to. It has to.
Day in, day out.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, well, I'm not drinking a soda today." That's not good enough.
No.
I hate to be the bearer of hard truths right now, but I'm drinking a diet soda with my Big Mac. That's not enough.
That diet
It's
soda.
not even where near enough.
Yeah.
The fact that you're still drinking soda is going to do it to you. It's better,
Maybe.
sure, but barely.
Maybe a diet soda with a Big Mac in China.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it'd be better than here for sure.
Brother, Eric, I'm not kidding, dude. Like, I'll have to show you one of these videos. The shit that they don't allow in their food, and like when Americans, the reason why they have that shit and sell it is because when American tourists go over there, so you're so accustomed to this, shit that you have here is the reason why they have it there, simply because they know you'll pay for it, but they don't serve that to their own people. You know what I'm saying? Like in England, I remember listening to one. They were these English guys. They came over here and they said they ate the food and they felt like absolute garbage. Yeah. And then they get back home and they eat, and like food tastes so weird to them there now because they got accustomed to eating what Americans eat and how disgusted they felt afterwards. And it was like they had to go back to this transition with their bodies to eating what they would eat, which is a cleaner fucking. And it's like, if other people, other countries outside of ours seriously go, that's disgusting, and I can't believe that you eat that, because they don't have that there. How's that not a clear indication of a problem?
I mean, how many times have you seen a fat Russian outside of maybe like the movies or something?
Yeah.
Say what you want about them, they don't allow that crap in their food.
You know how long Asians like live?
Yeah, Asians especially. Yeah, and Chinese food and stuff is like one of the highest salt intakes you can get, at least in America. But yeah,
I did see RFK said he wants to make GMOs banned day one.
Well, that's the thing I worry about with RFK too. Is I got no problem with what he's wanting to do with it, that stuff, but how much of this will face backlash because people just don't like the way it tastes because it's healthier.
You'll get over it.
I don't know how much.
Yeah, you'll get over it because I mean, if you're, it's like giving people meth because you like.
There will be a withdrawal period. Yeah.
You can't keep selling it this way. You're killing people, literally.
Yeah.
You can't.
Or maybe. Instead of doing it cold turkey, they could probably do it in increments, to help people adjust to the more healthier taste. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. There's some people who will still want to eat it as they always did, but I mean, it just depends on what it is and how much it tastes different. Things like that. But
I'll put it to you this way: if they can put it in your food without you knowing, they can take it out of your food without you fucking knowing.
Yeah, unless it's like just food coloring to make your Coke look clear, things like that. But yeah, but here's the point of the whole thing, though. The View had zero to say when Obama had his Eat Healthy campaign.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Didn't Michelle do the whole thing with, making kids less fat?
Oh yeah, but they should just rename the show of The View the Complaining Heifers show at this point, because that's I mean, where's the lie?
Dude, that's crazy.
Messed up. But anyway, speaking of genetics, this is the best segue I could come up with for this shit.
That took me out, bro.
Formerly renowned scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson feels that too many people don't trust the experts anymore. Let's watch this interview he did with Caitlin Collins when it comes to he's talking about COVID and things like that. Everybody don't trust the experts anymore.
It's not just always renewed engagement. It's also being paired with a growing distrust of people like you who do what you do for a living, who back things up with data and facts and science. People don't always trust it if it doesn't confirm, their suspicions of something.
Yeah, this is a problem going forward. It's the loss of people's trust in experts. I mean, let's put it just out there in that way. And that's odd, because if something happens to the plumbing in your house, are you going to say, "Oh, I'll fix it"? or do you call an expert, right? Just ask yourself all the ways that you've engaged experts in your life. And then all of a sudden you have access to the internet and you say, well, I'm not going to trust experts. I'm going to trust my own research. Can have ultimately lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being.
So when the public's trust, though, first of all, experts and CNN should never be in the same sentence.
No.
Number two, when the public's trust has been betrayed by the so-called experts due to how everything went down with COVID, you know, the COVID shot, the jab causing major side effects and deaths and the like, yeah, people aren't, you know, going to trust the experts anymore. Maybe we would if we actually had any experts anymore. The experts who ended up being right during 2020 ended up being censored or labeled as conspiracy theorist nut jobs for not towing the official narrative.
Did you guys see that?
No.
Like the whole drone thing that was going on over there?
Hold on a second. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, don't jump ahead. What's that going to
You
do?
know,
Anyway?
using if you have plumbing issues, you're going to call an expert is kind of a bad analogy because, you know, I know it's a expensive profession and everything, but sometimes those plumbers kind of gouge you for money.
Exactly, that too.
You know, and that's what I think people don't trust experts anymore because experts like inflate their prices to monumental proportions that people can't afford it. They can't afford to trust an expert.
An expert can simply just tell you what they want you to fucking know, and because they're an expert, why would you not believe them?
It's like when you take a car to a mechanic and they say, "Oh, well, you need to fix this, but you only brought it in for an oil change. Oh, that'll be $1,000." No.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted.
That's not what I came in here for.
Speaking of mechanics, I have a story.
Oh, God.
Just a quick story.
Yeah,
So I took my old truck in to get the oil pan fixed. Okay. And they ended up not fixing it. In fact, breaking it more and still charged me $600 for the time and for the parts they used.
Fight everybody in there.
That guy is an expert.
And then proceeded to tell me that I could not take it off the lot until I paid the $600.
That's right.
Fight everybody in there.
How many times has the so-called experts conned somebody out of something like that?
Yeah.
And they want us to. We must trust them, though. You know, it's like
I can't. Like there's just certain.
Experts said that aliens were not real, and then our president says that the aliens are real.
Yeah. By the way, this guy Neil deGrasse. We'll get to him in a second. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the same scientist who constantly tries to justify men and women's sports as being fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even leftist Bill Maher slammed him for that one on his show recently. This is also the same scientist who said that men can become women just because they may feel a certain way on any given day and thinks that gender is on a spectrum. But if I point out that there are two genders, only two genders, and state that as a scientific biological fact that men cannot get pregnant, I'm the bigot. This is my problem with the trust the science crowd. I'm not, nor have I ever been anti-science in any way, shape, or form. But the so-called science that we're supposed to trust nowadays isn't science at all. It's political activism. Don't believe me?
Oh, wow. Bill Nye. That's crazy work.
People like Bill Nye, the science guy, who I watched growing up in science class, and now Neil deGrasse Tyson are giving science a bad reputation because of their political beliefs that are not rooted in the very science they claim to represent. That's why, in a nutshell, I don't believe the science the experts claim it is. So, sorry, these so-called experts, they ain't getting my trust anytime soon, especially when you contradict yourself and contradict actual biological science on a weekly basis. Sorry. Well, Matt, here comes your portion of the show you wanted to talk about. LeBron James.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. King James himself has stepped away from the Lakers, claiming that it's because of he's playing the worst he's ever played in his career. First of all, yeah, he's old now. He's not that good anymore.
Okay.
But that's not it. Okay.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, the day some reports come out of human trafficking on his part, And after Jay-Z and the Diddy news broke, that's when he decides to step away from the Lakers. Convenient timing, if you ask me a little bit. This even got the attention of MMA fighter Colby Covington, who called him flat out on this. And let's listen to what he has to say.
I'm going to start this off, since I'm the man of the hour, the man of the show. I want to ask LeBron, what does he mean by there's no party like a Diddy party? I truly want to know. And not only that, LeBron, how many Diddy parties have you actually been to? I'm really curious to know. And is that the reason you left social media? Because all the backlash you were getting for going to so many Diddy parties? Just pathetic, man. People think this guy's a role model. He wants to defund the police, the most patriot people of America, serving and protecting our country. LeBron, you're a fucking scumbag, and I hope you get locked up in the same cell with Diddy.
You know what? I don't know who Colby Covington is. Not a big MMA guy, but I'm a fan of his now.
He's awesome. If you ever listen to him. First of all, I'm sorry my cat attacked the tree. Anyways, that's why I had to go. This is what I want to talk about. What?
I threw that off. But yeah, this is wild. That's the first time I've ever seen Matt speechless. Ever.
Okay, you got a grown-ass man, and you have another grown-ass man.
Yeah. Welcome to the Diddy Files, brother.
First of all, I just want to point this out. This does not look good for LeBron.
Which part?
All of it.
I don't know where you were going with it originally.
Yeah.
But...
First of all, LeBron is obviously in a decline in his career.
That has nothing to do with that photo.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with the Diddy stuff. However, have noticed that there's been a change in the way that LeBron has been playing basketball this year ever since the news about Diddy came out. So I think there's something a little more on his mind than let me tell you something. Sex trafficking has no excuse. There is no excuse. There is no grounds for that.
Oh, he's probably involved in the sex too.
And
he's dressed like that.
I have feelings that
brother
LeBron is heavily involved in this.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to cost him his career. It's going to cost him his legacy. It's going to cost him his life.
Well, if Cash Patel gets confirmed, he's already flat out said
and he's
the Jeffrey Epstein files and the Diddy files will become public.
Will Smith, there's others.
Oh, there's a lot of people you wouldn't even think.
Yeah, there's a lot. And I'm just wondering how many of those people are political people.
Oh, there's a lot of them. That's why they're fighting tooth and nail against Trump.
But yeah, I was eager to talk about this in the sports section. I'm sorry if I jumped ahead too fast. But yeah, he proclaimed on his social media that he's stepping away for, as a quoted, quote unquote, personal reasons. I'm sorry. Yeah. Please elaborate on those quote unquote personal reasons. Thank you, Eric, for putting segueing that up. But what do you think, Brandon?
Listen, the
man dresses up like a maid.
I mean, tell me you're guilty without telling me.
There was a rap battle earlier this year between two artists, one being Kendrick Lamar and one being Drake. And one of the songs, Kendrick says to, I forget who the hell he was talking to, but he said something about Drake's house being raided. It was like right after Diddy's house got raided. And he was saying something about a lot of industry people being tied up in this situation. And it's just, now it's funny that like everybody was like, oh no, this isn't possible, this isn't real. But now that you're finding out that a lot of these people who you put on this pedestal, you're finding out that like, well, maybe a lot of it, some of it might be true. Now, no capacity, we don't know what capacity he held in any of this, but dressing up as a maid because another guy told you to is fucking crazy.
I mean, it could be like some sort of hazy ritual, but at the same time, it's like, have some self-respect.
I mean,
say no.
Have you
Here's the
guys
thing.
paid attention?
Can't get rich that way, though.
That's the thing. So there's a stigma. Cat Williams brought it up too. There's a thing with actors wearing dresses, especially a lot of African American actors wearing dresses and shit, because once they do, they become famous. Think about the ones who turned it down. Not Kevin Hart. Cat Williams did. Eddie Griffin did. And those guys, even though at the time they were at the height of their fame, but because they refused to do a thing,
look what happened.
Now where they are.
Yeah.
They're seen.
I mean, I remember
crazy.
Eddie Griffin, but I couldn't tell you a thing he's been in or done.
No, but he has a podcast and he's been speaking out about this shit for a long fucking time.
It's probably for good reason. It probably torpedoed his own career.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, but at least in that regard, when it comes to torpedoing your career, he made the right decision, unlike someone else we talked about. But LeBron James apparently has responded, assuming this is true. I looked at his X page, and unless he's taken it down, which that very well may be true, he has not posted since November, as mentioned. So I want to at least assume that this is real, but it could be fake. But let's say that it is. But LeBron James responded. It may have been since taken down, blah, blah, which is why I put a disclaimer on it. But if it is real and it was taken down, it's probably because his lawyer said, shut the F up, because it's not going to help. But he wrote to Colby Covington, yeah, I have been to Diddy's parties maybe a few dozen times. That doesn't mean they have anything on me. Unlike you, who foolishly went out for dinner in your enemy's city and got jumped, I calculate every move I make. Also, I could help them put Diddy away for life, but I'm not a cop calling that D like you. Keep my name out your mouth. So again, let's assume this is, I mean, if it's real, it may be fake. But even if it is not real and it is fake, tell me you're guilty with that. I mean, I'm sure that Ellen DeGeneres has a bed in her home in the UK that's not flooded that you could actually use. Maybe a good cot.
Here's the thing, too. You can't say, I also could help them put Diddy away, but I'm not a cop. What are we talking about? So what you're saying is, but what you're saying is, in this instance, you're now implicating yourself in a crime. That if you were not in before, you definitely are now, just by stating, I could help put Diddy away. So that means you've seen some shit.
There is a video there.
But that also means you were present when that shit happened and you did nothing to stop it.
Yeah. He basically admitting that he was there and it was a part of this. If this is true.
That's circulating of, I think it was LeBron at a Dallas Cowboys game. Anyways, he was in one of the suites and some fans were heckling LeBron from underneath him in one of the lower stadiums, going, I wonder how that Diddy party was. And I guess LeBron James had a very weird reaction to it. He looked at the fan with the shit-eating grin, like a shit-eating look, and then walked back into his suite.
Well, that would kind of coincide.
To it. And I was like, that makes you look more guilty.
Well, that would kind of coincide with this tweet maybe even being true, because he writes right there, that doesn't mean they have anything on me. So he's admitting he was there, but he feels secure enough that maybe
you are innocent until you're proven guilty. And
agreed. If we had a just system.
And if he feels like his name's been implicated in this, now I'm not saying that his name is deeply rooted into this. He may have just went to one or two or three of his parties, but the fact that you're dressing up like a maid, that's wild.
Yeah.
Now,
no matter what the reason is,
Matt,
I don't care if it was Halloween or not.
When I tell you that that is written right here, I've been to Diddy's parties maybe a few dozen times. That's a wild statement in itself. Doesn't mean they have anything.
A few dozen is like 36.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means it doesn't have anything on me, right? So he's saying, yeah, I've been there, but that ain't got shit on me. But then he also says, I can also help put Diddy away for life. So that means that you were there long enough for anything nefarious to take place. That means you witnessed it, but you did nothing to stop it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you went back
is probably a crime.
But even if you witnessed it one time, right?
Oh, probably.
What is it? The Fifth Amendment?
Hold on. If you witnessed it one time, but then you've been to a few dozen and you've never stopped any of these or have not gone. So you either, the first time this shit happened, you co-signed for it. Like, all right, well, that's a one-off situation, whatever the case may be. But then you went back.
Yeah.
Like,
multiple times.
If
I'm
you
sorry, if it was
knew-
me once, I'm out.
If you
Done.
knew what was going on, but yet you still went
Yeah.
back, that's crazy work.
If I knew what was
bro.
going on, I would have been there to begin with. But
Yeah.
you know, if someone actually cares about my soul.
I mean, poor Justin Bieber in all this.
Brother.
I mean, if you guys seen Justin Bieber,
Yeah, I know.
He's gone through like a.
He was a
spiritual
victim from the looks of
journey.
things of all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Which hopefully eventually one of these days more will come out about that. Hopefully he'll be vindicated more. I think enough people know, but yeah, still at this point. But speaking of basketball, let's move on to someone else. Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. Talent-wise, by a country mile, she's the best player in the WNBA. But this week she bowed to pressure. She shot her career in the foot and succumbed to the woke mob.
Yep.
She went full Bud Light and Target. After being named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark apologized this week for her quote-unquote white privilege and says that the WNBA is built on black players. She took the knee. I don't understand why she did this personally. She torpedoed her popularity all after the fact that her white privilege got her viciously beaten up on the court, called names and dissed in the media, stabbed in the eye with an acrylic fingernail, intentional injuries ignored by the referees who wouldn't call fouls against her, and now she's defending these people?
Yep.
This is a perfect way to lose half your fan base, Caitlin. Just saying. So
she will.
I don't understand it. I mean, somebody got in her head and got in her ear, and she succumbed to the pressure. You know, or she's trying to make peace with some of these people who are bullying her because she's tired of the bullying. I don't know which it is, but either way, if you think that's going to stop it, it's not. As Megan Kelly here expertly puts it here, I want to listen to what she has to say about it.
Totally insincere. And here's how you know it's totally insincere. Because if Caitlin Clark really felt uncomfortable in the spotlight as the newbie who's white, because white people didn't build the league, she wouldn't have said yes to being Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So either walk the walk or don't. But what you're doing here is trying to have it both ways. You're too cute by half, and you've managed to piss off your fan base. Go ahead and look at my Twitter feed and the comments under my tweet on this. She's lost thousands of fans, maybe more, as a result of this. And you will never appease the race bullies in the WNBA, ever, because you're too popular, you're too talented, and too white.
Yeah, so good luck to her. It'll be a while. It may take about as long as Bud Light's still having issues, so we'll see. But
she doing that, her agent is probably pissed right now.
He may have been the one who encouraged her to do it.
He may be the one who told her to fucking do it.
This will be good for your career.
Because let me tell you something, honey. You're not at Iowa anymore.
Well, even in Iowa,
They're
most people in
not
Iowa
going to
would like
hold
it.
your hand. Tomorrow, Coach Milky's not going to go, oh, it's okay. You can try again tomorrow. No, what the PR nightmare is going to be saying is, your mouth is getting our team in trouble. And when you're stating this like this, all that big crowd that went and saw her, guess what's going to happen to it? They're going to disappear.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got two more stories left and we're done. Weeks before Donald Trump takes office, Joe Biden is still trying to sabotage Donald Trump. This time, he's racing to auction off unused border wall materials. Here's just a video of some of that going on here. The video shows trucks hauling wall materials off the border to a government auction site where a massive amount of wall is waiting to be sold. Just look at this. The government hard at work not protecting you. So, yeah, they're just selling them for, dollars to donuts here. They're posting them online on auction websites starting at $5 a sheet or a plate. I don't know what you call those, a wall piece.
I'd like to get some, put them up around our property.
Keep the neighbors out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, all in an effort to sabotage Donald Trump's effort to secure the border. As Donald Trump Jr. put on his X account, are you kidding me? Sell it for pennies on the dollar now, cart it off fast so it takes longer and costs more to do the job that the American public clearly wants based on their votes. Democrats obviously hate America and you. If you want any more proof of the matter, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, just whatever they can do to get Donald Trump. Last story of the night. This is one that's kind of been all over social media. The drones are swarming New Jersey. Let's listen to this Fox News report on what may be going on.
House lawmakers trying to get answers about drone sightings in the skies over New Jersey and Staten Island. Correspondent Nate Ford reports tonight from Morristown, New Jersey.
The fact that we don't know what's flying in our airspace is only the tip of the iceberg. What's to come. We have to fix this.
Today, lawmakers on Capitol Hill raised questions about the United States' ability to defend against drone attacks and counter surveillance operations.
The American people are looking at us and they think that we're lying to them because they think, how could you possibly not have answers to drones flying over some of the most critical airspace in the country?
In recent months, swarms of unidentified drones flew over the Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, the southern border in Texas, and now nearly every night in New Jersey and New York for 3 weeks.
The president is aware, so we're closely tracking the activity and coordinating closely with relevant agencies, including TPS and FBI.
But the FBI doesn't have answers.
We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that.
House Speaker Mike Johnson promises to keep working on it.
We need straight answers, of course. We are concerned about drones and all these new technologies and what it might mean for national security and the safety of the American citizen.
Any thought these might be dark programs?
I hope not. I don't believe so, but there's a lot of investigation going on, so we'll find out.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox News he's concerned it could be a foreign adversary conducting surveillance, like last year's Chinese spy balloon.
China is one full decade ahead of us. And if this shows us anything, it shows us that we need to do better.
While the concern grows in New Jersey.
There's a lot of fear because there's no solid answers being provided.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so basically no one in our government seems to know whose these drones are. Be clear about my theory here. I just won't buy that these are unidentified drones in our airspace. They know exactly, meaning our government, the government knows exactly who owns these drones and what they're doing. They're just not telling you.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory. Just like the Chinese spy balloon. You know, we don't know what it is, for the longest time. Then we finally found out what it was. And Joe Biden finally shot it down after it crossed the entire nation of, important areas. So this administration is just too weak to do what is necessary to keep its citizens safe. The theories range from Iranian mothership deployed these drones off our East Coast to Project Bluebeam to they're just airplanes to my personal favorite, aliens.
Hey, man.
I mean,
hey, man. It might be.
Why not? Or
Okay.
What about aliens flying drones?
Okay.
Hey, yo, that's hilarious.
Okay.
Why not?
How about China or Russia?
I don't think it's that.
I mean, they'd have to get
China,
here. Which is the part I have a hard time buying.
Hear me out.
I mean, we'd have to Russian sub off the coast.
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Langley, Virginia. New York. Well, let's see. New York is what? The most populated super city in the United States, right?
Oh, they have drones flying over there too. That was
Sure they do.
goal. Yeah.
Because that would be a great target.
Yeah.
And Langley, Virginia, let me tell you something. I believe the CIA central headquarters is in Langley, Virginia. Am I correct?
At least it used to be.
At least it used to be. Okay.
I don't know if it still is or not.
Used to be. Well, somebody might be going off of old data. Okay. So, yeah, if I was the United States and there's unidentified aircraft in my airspace, that would be something I would want my national security supervisor to let me know.
Well, and it's not even so much that they're in our airspace, because obviously there are people you can buy drones, at Walmart, and stuff nowadays.
But Eric, these are not drones like that, like you little airplanes you find at Kmart.
You can buy some decent sized ones, but there's some reports that say that the drones that are over New Jersey and New York right now are the size of SUVs.
Yes.
If that's the case, that's
not
military
a
of some
fucking
sort.
drone.
Eric,
Yeah.
they're UAVs. They're Predator drones.
But like you said, though, if they're flying over like military installations or pharmaceutical thing or whatever it might be, those certain things are in restricted airspace as it is.
Yes.
So there's zero excuse to why these things are not being shot down over vital installations like that.
They are scouting for targets,
and we're just allowing it. That's the bigger concern.
And you know why they're allowing
we did it with the so-called weather fucking balloon. Like, yeah,
you know why they're allowing it? Because it's not their problem anymore.
Well,
they are voting
they never
out.
cared before.
It's not their problem.
Yeah, it's definitely not now, but yeah, they just. Miranda, got any thoughts on this outside of what we mentioned?
Well, the possibility of it being us in Space Force is very probable. If it's on a classified need to know basis, they wouldn't even have to tell the administration.
Really, I didn't know they'd have that sort of clearance for that sort of thing. I don't know, but maybe they do.
We have
Space Force
shit that we wouldn't know about any fucking way.
No, she's talking about Space Force.
I like the Space Force theory.
Space Force has had a satellite up in it's like for 900 and some days between the elections, last election.
Oh yeah, that's the one they claimed that Elon Musk used to rig the election for Donald Trump.
No, not this last election. The one before that. 2020.
Didn't work that time, did it? I digress.
Well, no. They weren't trying to do anything with it. They were collecting data.
Yeah.
And these did you get the chance to listen to the video I put in the chat?
I listened to some of it. It was pretty long, but yeah, I listened to some of it.
Well, New Jersey is a hub for everything. Like infrastructure is very important. It's like one of the most important states for our infrastructure. And if we had something go wrong, we would be in trouble. So if we were protecting ourselves with drones from the Space Force, then yeah.
The only reason I didn't play your videos because I thought this video was a little shorter, and it showed what you're talking about here, military bases, and I think I didn't show as much as I thought I did, but yeah, there was other things that was listed too that were of vital importance to our infrastructure, and that you're just allowing these things to take pictures and God knows what else, or videos or whatever.
But like they're not. Trump put out a truth about shooting them down. Now they're going against what Trump said. So you would, why aren't they more concerned about them? Like, so I think they've gotten orders from somebody that, don't really do anything.
I love when people fly little unmanned drones inside my house and take pictures of what I'm doing. That makes me feel real comfortable,
Well, I don't know why it wouldn't, Matt. I mean, like, you do realize that your face is on a recognition, like a part of some recognition, Microsoft everywhere. Like, you have a cell phone.
Face, that's my
You're on.
You're online right now as we speak,
brother.
I know. I understand. I understand that. But
these drones, if they were going to do damage, they would have done damage. It's the same, like I said, it's the same thing with the whole weather balloon shit. Like,
and I think that's kind of why they're like, they're not going to hurt anybody, but what are they doing?
That was like the soft disclosure for that shit. Like, we're used to this. Just send in the little green aliens.
Yeah. Which again, they told us, as Aaron would say if he's here, that they've been telling us for years those are not real either, and now they're potentially out flying drones. So I mean, but like I said, a second ago, Miranda mentioned it perfectly. They know whose drones these are. They just ain't telling you.
Yeah, they know. They know. You don't.
And you know
what it is. Like, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
The theory, if it really is aliens, like for real. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic here. The theory, if it really is aliens, the need for a space force is more understandable.
Here's the thing.
Oh yeah, it's always
alien.
Like I said, Trump's telling people to shoot them down. They already think Trump's nuts.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out and shoot them down. And we, as the conservatives, we ain't gonna go out there and shoot them down.
Now,
So
if Trump was
it's a
in office,
win-win.
I think they'd been shot down by military aircraft already.
Oh hell yeah! If Trump was
Yeah.
president, we would have never heard about a drone.
You'd have heard about the explosion that happened over Jersey. But you wouldn't know what happened.
No, they wouldn't. They'll probably have been out there. You just wouldn't have known about them. These want to be seen.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
They came.
That's why
They were going off radar. They were messing
Flying
with
low enough to be
people.
seen.
Yeah. Like these things are. It's all for a show.
Yeah, and a lot, and I'm not saying all of them are this, but that's why I kind of wonder if a lot of them is just like civilians just using drones to kind of get a rise out of people. That could very well be the case. I mean, it's probably less likely. Some of them, not all of them, because obviously if they're bigger, it's going to be something.
Some of them
there may be some now, like literally because they're in the news, they're like, well, I want to get my drone out now.
Yeah, it's definitely eye catching. We've gone to fireworks shows and stuff, and there's been a drone, and like they're pretty freaking cool. And the technology that they're amazing. But
there's going to have to be some sort of I hate to say it, but some sort of maybe rules, because you can't just be flying drones in places they are not allowed.
Here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the
they're
thing.
harmless, maybe.
There already is rules about that. There already is laws against you flying drones into certain places, certain areas, and like violating people's privacy. Like as a private citizen, if you were to say you had a drone, right, had a camera on it and everything, most of them fucking do. Well, the expensive ones do, right? And
I have one that's not even out of the box.
Yes. But if you were to fly this thing and you saw something at your neighbor's house with the damn thing, you could get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Because you're, again, so to have a drone with the capability of, like, I'm assuming these damn things have, because like I said, some of them are not commercial fucking drones. Some of them were huge. They know whose drones they are. You just don't know whose drones they are. And again, if they were gonna do something, they'd have fucking done it. Whether that's on our behalf, if we were gonna shoot the damn things down. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna do something, do something. If not, like it is what it is. And if it is aliens, at this point, let it happen.
At least over the restricted airspace is something needs to be done to secure our national security. But I will stress too, there's a lot of videos going around on the internet about what these drones look like, what they're doing. Also, I saw one video that even looked like they made it. I think, assuming it wasn't real, if it was, there's something needs to be done about this one. That some drones were firing onto the ground, and you could literally see the military.
I seen that was actually a military exercise.
Oh, they made it look like it was part of the
poorly planned. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing. Some of these videos are just fake.
And there was a lot of them I'm looking at going, well, they're all in a line. Well, that's because they're right by an airport, and if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a plane landing. They're in landing formation. That's what that is. So there are some people just going, oh, it's a drone. It's not a drone. It's a plane. So who knows how much of this is real, how much of it's not. But
a lot of people forget something too. If an adversary was going to use a drone, they don't use drones. They use satellites.
Well, they can use drones.
You can use satellites just as easy as you can use a drone.
Well, you could use both, but I see what you're saying.
Russians have their own satellites. Chinese have their own satellites.
We have our own satellites.
It's not like it's not the 1980s anymore, where they shoot a canister up in the air and it takes a picture. I'm just saying, it's
I love that.
It's crazy. But yeah, of course, this whole thing brought out the internet trolls, so Matt's favorite people. And this one I thought in particular was actually hilarious. I kind of enjoyed that one.
Oh, there it goes.
My grandpa,
Man, that's wild.
And I'm sure people like, JD Vance are just waiting for the drones to pass over his house. So, absolutely great. So our current vice president, or upcoming vice president here.
It's a nice piece he's got too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, he's going to have, Trump's going to be at the Army-Navy game tomorrow, and JD's going to have Daniel Penny with him as his VIP guest.
Well, good for him. Yes,
I
Daniel
love
Penny
that.
I don't
trigger discipline.
I was going to mention that, I think, but yeah, Daniel Penny was finally found not guilty. We talked about. I couldn't remember if we talked about the not guilty charge. We talked about the first one, but not the second one. So yeah, good for him. It was the right call, in my opinion. So surprised I forgot to mention that. But anyway, it's been a long week. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, don't worry. Don't worry. Yes. Your government would never lie to you, would they?
No,
not at all. Not freaking
never.
So yeah, so that's basically all I got. But I thought I'd end the show with this cool. This is actually a Grok AI image. I typed in a lot. Funny Christmas with a dragon, since we're the Dragons Den podcast. So there you go.
I like that.
It's just a little.
That's pretty dope. I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Aaron, are you there, buddy? If you are, we'll say bye. I guess I think we're about ready to get out of here for the night. It's kind of long, but
hell yeah, big dog.
Oh, guess not. Well, all right, we'll talk to him later. So yeah, we're going to head out of here tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. For the 40 or so of you who we know for certain, I think it's mostly YouTube numbers that we're seeing here, but we got to add up all the Rumble and Twitters and Facebook stuff. We'll see how many people we got watching. But thank you so much for watching the show tonight. We hope you enjoyed all of our content. Please hit that like, hit subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble as well. Comment, do all that good jazz, and definitely share the video some too, because that definitely helps other people see it, and we get more subscribers and things like that. You know the drill. But like I said earlier, it'll probably be 2 weeks now before our next podcast. We should be back on December 27th before the new year to have our final show of the year, which will be my 1000th video on my YouTube channel, at least. So that'll be kind of fun to celebrate. So that'll be cool. So thank you guys so much for the birthday wishes. I'm sure to get when my phone blows up today. All the, everybody just being nice and awesome, and having the Christmas cheer and all that sort of good stuff. And as Mike said earlier, definitely don't forget the reason for the season. That is what really matters at the end of the day. So until 2 weeks from now, thank you guys for watching. And until then, take care and God bless.
Later.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.